I have not sent them yet. I just trimmed
Okay.
her yesterday.
Okay. Well, do you have any pictures?
Probably not any recent ones that it would be pertaining to this. But before I do anything with her, I kind of wanted to get a better understanding of
Okay.
the
Okay.
soul.
Well, a big part of this is taking pictures. I mean, it's like vital and stuff. And it's primarily for you, you know, because that is really how you figure out what's going on, is by taking pictures. And by the mapping and the pictures, with the combination of the two, along with getting an accurate knowledge of the true anatomy and structure of that foot, and these things start to work together in your brain, you know, and then in your skill set as you start doing it, I don't know how to explain it, but it all just starts to click together so that you can start to understand and see through the pictures and things like that. And then it transfers to, you know, to your skill and your looking it over time. But pictures are really, really, really important for you.
Okay.
To learn this. It's like the prerequisite to even being able to do this. You know.
Well, I'm just starting out with you. I just started doing mapping and learning your anatomy. So I'm looking at the hoof differently now.
Okay, that's awesome. Well, I'll tell you what, when you start taking pictures of your horse's feet, then you'll really start seeing things that you didn't see with the hoof in hand.
Okay.
You know, and stuff. So anyway, yeah, that'll be a good thing to get into tonight, the soul and stuff. So, okay, does anybody else? Who else? How about you, Kay? Or was I was talking to Diane. Okay. Hi, Kay.
Hi there.
Hey, how you doing?
Good. I am very completely new to trimming hooves, so I am in absorbing mode.
Okay, well, that's okay. And now, how did you find out about us?
A friend of mine actually pointed me in your direction when, after 2 years of, you know, having my thoroughbred's feet falling apart, she nudged me in your direction and said, you know, you're clever. You could figure this out. Go to this group. So I have trimmed all my horses. I've mapped them all once or twice, and I've taken little tiny, you know, rasped a little bit, used the knife a little bit. I'm still trying to figure out how to use the tools and stuff, and I don't want to do any harm, but I'm starting to get a little bit more confident, and you know, so I've been watching your videos and stuff, and so here I am for the first live.
Well, see, that's why I started and stuff. I had a farrier that was trimming my colt's feet into platter feet.
Yeah.
And then, you know what being graveled is?
No.
It's when the white line gets stretched and dirty, and then a little piece of gravel gets in there, and it will work its way up and pop out the wall.
Yeah.
And make a little crack. And so I had this 2-year-old, and he was getting feet like dinner plates, and all these cracks coming out the top. And that's when I decided I needed to do something different.
Yeah.
You know, and I had heard about this trim based on wild horse feet about 4 years before. I heard about it first in 1998, or was it 98 or somewhere around there. But then it wasn't until 2002, or was it 2005? 2005 that I just had this experience with this farrier, and that's when I started trimming myself. Now, I was fortunate in that we had worked on ranches and had horses all our life, and my husband had shod and trimmed, but he flat wasn't doing it no more, and so we had a mare that we kept and a colt when we quit doing ranch work. And so I had all the tools, but I had a farrier coming because my husband had a really bad back and he just wasn't going to do it no more. And so I had a farrier coming regularly for this colt, and his feet just kept getting worse and worse and worse. And so I remembered about this trim based on wild horse feet. And so I started trying to learn that. And so I remember I took directions from a guy named Gene Ovanek that was online. He's the one I had only heard of. I hadn't heard of the rest of these guys. And so I studied the stuff he said for, a couple weeks. And then one day I just printed out the directions and got the knife and the rasp and went out there and spent about 4 hours doing it. And then I started learning more about barefoot trimming and things like that. And my horses seemed to get better, and then they got worse. And then they never did get truly sound. And I don't know why, but for 7 years, I kept thinking that wild horse quality foot was right around the next trim. And it never came. And in fact, my pony got way worse. And my mare, she wasn't doing good at all. And then that's when, along the way, I discovered numerous things that were being taught that I personally did not see fitting what I was seeing in these feet. And besides that, the proof is in the pudding, right? That horse has to show marked improvement. And he was never showing improvement. In fact, they were getting worse. So that's when, through all the research and dissections and everything, I learned that much of the anatomy and structure they teach is bogus. It's based on tradition. 300 years, well, not 300 years, 1,000 years of farrier tradition out of the Dark Ages, combined with one man and one wild horse that wore its feet out. And they're all trying to turn their horse's feet to look like the one wild horse that wore its feet out. That's ultimately what it came down to. And I found out we were all trimming the heels out of our horses and decimating their feet to try and make them look like this ideal that they have in their heads, when all wild horse feet do not look like that. See? So that's why we're here. And then everybody else. I mean, I don't know if you've joined the forum yet, but if you read the stories, there is story after story after story after story after story. And if you get on any of these hoof sites on Facebook, you find horses have numerous problems, and it's all because of the trim and trimming the feet out of these horses. So anyway, so see, you're in good company, because everybody here has gone through the same thing, gone through the farriers and the barefoot trimmers. See? So anyway, thank goodness we're here.
Yes.
That we got some answers, and we can help our horses, and in the process, maybe we get a record going here that will help others. So, all right. Now, do you have some pictures so we can look at your horse tonight, or have you been taking pictures?
Yes, I've posted on the Facebook group and on the forum. And I've only really gone through the entire process of washing feet, photographing, mapping the photographing, and then doing something with my thoroughbred mare.
Okay, great.
My friend that pointed me in your direction, she came and kind of helped us out of crisis mode with my gelding, and I posted pictures that she came over and trimmed him for me and kind of introduced me to this, and then she casted his front feet because he was just falling apart.
That now.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. So that's me. Hello.
Hello. Yeah, poor guy.
Yeah.
Well, my gelding, he is mostly thoroughbred. So he had the same kind of feet. The thing is that thoroughbreds do have good feet, but they won't take any abuse.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, they actually do have very good feet, and they have thick wolf walls, and all the stuff they say about thoroughbred feet is not true, but they have to be right to have that. So, okay, well, we will look at horse that you've done that you have pictures of, okay?
Okay.
Okay, so let's see. Okay, so that's what we're going to discuss tonight. We're going to discuss soul anatomy, and then we're going to look at your horse.
Okay.
And Kay Handlin, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. What do you got going?
Oh, you were just talking to me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Sherry. I was thinking of Sherry Gulick. Sorry. Gosh. All right. I mean, I need to write everybody down here who I'm talking to. It's hard to tell sometimes. Okay. Just a second. Write some stuff down. Okay. Then we're going to get into soul anatomy, and then we'll do some of these hoof evaluations. I'll do evaluation on your mare. So, all right. So the soul. The soul, the soul, the soul. That's an interesting subject. Okay, so how many people have been told that your horse is supposed to have concavity, a concave soul? Who's heard that?
I have.
Okay, there's one.
Yes.
There's two. How many people? I got
Yep.
9 people here. Has all 9 people ever heard that?
Yes.
Yes, I have. Yes.
Okay. Well, what if I was to tell you that the soul is not concave? That they've been portraying it as concave, but it's not actually concave.
Really?
Yeah, really. Really. It's so that's what we're going to look at. We're going to look at the true anatomy of the soul. Okay? And you're going to see how they've taken because tradition, their traditions, they, you know, what happens is in ancient times, you have people that come up with teachings and ideas. Okay, so anyway, I was just reading this note. Let me get on the share screen here. So you have traditions that from the dark ages still in farriery, because about the time that the sciences really got moving, well, the combustion engine was invented. And so farriery just kind of fell to the wayside. And so they've been able to keep their medieval beliefs and traditions. And barefoot trimming was started by farriers. So they bring these beliefs with them that are actually not based on true anatomy. And so we're going to look, and I'm going to prove to you how 2 things tonight I want to prove to you. I want to show you what the soul is really like, because if you don't know what it's really like or what you're really supposed to be getting, how are you going to recognize it when you do get it, or how are you even going to work to develop the foot to get the correct kind of soul? So, you know, we want to know that. We want to know the exact shape, form, anatomy, structure of the soul. And then I'm going to show you what they believe about the soul and how it is so tainted that they manipulate drawings to show the soul being like what they want it to be, because this is so entrenched in tradition and in their heads than how it really is. Like when they're explaining the anatomy of the soul, they will never show you a picture. They will always show you a drawing. So I'm going to show you these drawings to show you how they depict the soul and how it is inaccurate according to every single foot of the horse that you could have. So these are the 2 things we want to learn tonight, because see, you have to be able to separate truth from error, because when it comes to anatomy and the structure of the horse's foot, there's no room for error. You wouldn't want your doctor to be operating on your heart, you know, and have some belief that was 500 years old that wasn't true, you know, because he's going to kill you. See what I mean? Well, we're slowly killing these horses because of the erroneous beliefs that men still hold within farrier circles. Okay, well, let's see where to start. Well, we're going to get into some pictures here. Oh, wait a minute. Okay, I think I'm sharing the screen now. We're going to go into pictures. And I hope, can you hear? I have to have a fan on so I don't roast in here in this office. Does it sound funny? Can you hear it at all? Anybody? Can you hear that fan whirring in the background?
No, I can't. There's some other place somewhere.
Well, let me try this. How's that? Is that better?
Yeah,
Yep, perfect.
the
Okay.
fan is fine, but I think there's a couple of open mics.
Couple of open mics. Well, I only have one mic on here. Oh,
They're
wait a minute.
They're closed.
Huh?
They closed them.
How's that? Hello? Hello?
That sounds perfect.
Yeah.
That sounds good. Excellent.
Is
That's
that
good.
better? Okay, yeah, I had a camera plugged in. Okay, so let me repeat that for the video, just so everybody knows. We're going to look at two things. One, what is the true shape, form, and anatomy of the soul of the horse that we're trying to grow? Two, what is the traditionally held beliefs and why are they wrong? Well, the reason we'll know they're wrong, when we look at the true shape, form of the soul, then when we look at what they teach, we'll know they're wrong. See, and so if what you believe is inaccurate, then what kind of conclusions will you draw? They won't be right? What in, like, say, the treatment, in the trimming, what you're trying to get. If the soul is not concave, but you think it's concave, so you're carving it out to be concave or trying to form it into a concave shape all the time, you're going to see how that can actually lead to the whole foot breaking down. So, okay, we're going to go over here to, let's see. You are soul. All right. Well, here, let's look at this picture. Here's a good one. We'll start here first. I want to show you something. I'm going to show you a real foot, and then I'm going to show you a drawing. Okay. Well, here, we'll do this first. Wait a minute. Just a second. Got to decide where I want to start. All right. Well, it doesn't really matter where you start. Okay, so here, this is a wild horse's foot. And this, I've just made the sole thicker here as if it was 4.5 inches. Here, that would be 3.5 inches. And a horse would have 1 inch of sole. This was a wild horse foot. This is a dissection that is done on a popular Hoof Guru's page. Somebody gave him this wild horse foot, but he does not at all trim to get this foot. I've been looking at this foot now for 15 years, trying to figure it out. And the one thing that helped me was when I finally saw this little piece back here called the heel buttress and realized we'd been trimming that out of our horses like this. And, you know, if you've looked at very many barefoot horses that are trimmed barefoot style, you won't see a hairline that goes along like that there. You'll see one that goes down like this here. But anyway, what we want to look at is the sole. This is what we want. This is why we're restoring the heel, because this heel has to grow down, attached to the back of the foot here, right to here, from the hairline to here is about 1 inch and 1/8 right there. And then if you get another inch, that's going to give you 1 inch of sole. So you have to have a good heel buttress to have the correct sole at all. You have to have a good heel buttress so that the hoof, the horn tubules that grow down from the coronary attach to the sole here, and then the sole and the wall grow down to the ground together. And so the piece of wall right here that grows down the side of the foot attaches right here and then grows down to here, supports the sole. The one thing you want to know about the sole is that it is much softer than the wall, and that the wall grows live pretty indefinite, but the sole will only grow to 3/4 to an inch before it dies, and it must exfoliate. So it doesn't just grow on and on and on like the wall. And so when the wall, what it does, you have a piece of wall, lamina in here that grows down, attached to the rest of your wall. It attaches to the sole right there. Then they grow down to the ground together. The sole dies, and then the wall keeps growing past the sole. That is usually how it happens. Now, let me annotate here a little bit. Okay, so you have to have this heel buttress right here. You see this supporting the back of the foot. It attaches to the back of the heel. Right here is the back of the heel of your horse's heel, inner heel. Okay, so the back of this heel buttress wall, which is hoof wall, attaches right here. It grows down the back. Right here, it connects with the sole at the back of the heel, and then they grow down to the ground together. Now, see, I look at everything structurally, like you're building something. So it all has to follow physical laws of structural engineering. You know, you should be able to see how this buttress has to be at a certain angle, and that once it has to be a certain length. If my heel is only this long, how much sole am I going to have? Not much, right? So that is why these heel buttresses back here have to be a certain length, but they also pretty much have to be a certain angle to a degree. Now, the thing is, when they get trimmed out, it'll crush your heels like that. So you might have kind of a hard time getting them to stand up, but that's okay. You need to not really worry about that, because as the rest of the wall gets corrected, it's still going to push this wall and heel buttress back like that. When you trim these heels out, let me undo this. Okay, when they trim a heel right to here, this is what I was taught by a barefoot trimmer, to do this. Say, well, what's that do? That's going to rock that horse back on his heel like this. And every time you come in, it's going to pull all this down and forward. Every time you come in, you wind up taking more and more heel off to where they have no heel. Now, the bad part about that is, look here. You see the angle of the dorsal wall here? See, now we're going to, this is a prerequisite. We have to understand this stuff, because this is what attaches to your sole in here. This piece of lamina that grows down to here, part of the hoof wall, connects with the sole, and then they grow down to the ground together there, see? Well, okay, you see the angle of this heel buttress wall right here. Again, it grows down the back of the foot, it attaches right here to the sole, and then it has to grow another inch if you're going to want an inch of sole underneath that foot. You see, so the walls are very important to the sole in that they act as both a retaining and a support wall for the sole, and they share weight. They share weight, but they're not supposed to bear all the weight. So, so in the hoof capsule, you would want, okay, this wall that grows down here internally at the lamina level, connects to the sole right there. They join together with what is called the white line, which is really yellow, and they grow to the ground together like that. And again, what does the wall do? It supports the sole right there. Now look at this. It has to be a certain angle where it connects right here and then joins down to the ground. Now, the sole itself, let's see, how would I do this? We'll just use yellow. The sole itself is also formed of little straw-like tubules, like this. Okay, so they grow just like that. Just like that. Okay, and then they get only so long and they should exfoliate. Now, you can have sole that gets compressed and retains and it's dead sole, and it can get compacted and it can wind up looking like live sole, but that's another deal. Okay, we're just going to talk about normal sole, how it would normally be. Now, these tubules, you see how they have to be a certain angle. Really, they're the same angle as the wall right there. See there? So again, this piece of wall grows down to here, joins up with this piece of sole, and they grow to the ground together, connected. Okay, so when, let's see, let me do this again. Okay, so when you trim the heels out, let's see, what happens? If I take this much heel out, what is it going to do to this horn tubule? Can you tell me? It's going to change the angle of it, right? Instead of being like this, well, let's see, how could we do this? What I should do is take a picture and put it in a different program. If you lower the back of this foot down, what's it going to do to this horn tubule? It's going to set it at an angle, going more forward this way. Well, then what happens is these horn tubules start pushing and growing forward like that. Well, what happens here is since it's connected to the sole right there, the same thing starts happening to the sole tubules. Instead of being, well, wait a minute, just a minute. I'm going to clear all and do this. Just a second here. Okay, so the sole tubule, instead of being like that, it starts getting pushed like this. Now it only grows so long, right? So then they're growing like this, and you can't get any thickness of sole because they're like this, because the horn tubules that they're attached to are no longer, let's see here, okay, are no longer growing down like this, attaching to them right there, and then growing to the ground to support them so that they are at this angle here, so you can get thickness of sole. So the walls, first and foremost, are vital and primarily important, not only being the right height, but all of the horn tubules, just a second here, all of the horn tubules being in alignment like this. Say, when you go out, check your horn tubules. When you take your pictures, check your horn tubules. What are they doing? Are they in alignment pretty much like this? You know, or do you have some that are, see, if this one starts here, it should go at an angle, attach right here, and then be right here about at the ground. So let's say you have this section here, like so. But what you're finding is when the heels are trimmed out of these horses, just a minute here, instead of being there, right here, this piece is up here, and this piece is there. See? And then usually you got something going on like this. Okay, so when we straighten these feet out, one of the main things we're doing is we're trying to get all these horn tubules back in alignment so that they can support the sole correctly, so that the sole will grow to its optimum thickness. Okay, but let's look at the anatomy of the sole and why we have to do it this way. Just a minute. Let me move this thing. Stop annotating. Oh, there we go. Okay. Put that up there. Okay. This is going to, I'm going to, again, what am I going to show you tonight? I'm going to show you the true anatomy of the sole, what we're trying to get, and I'm going to show you what they believe traditionally about the sole. And I will show you anatomy charts that they make, and I will show you real feet. Like this is a dissection I did. This is one of the first dissections I did. This foot is actually distorted because I trimmed this horse for 6 months, and at the time I was trimming the heels out of everything just like everybody else. And so what you see here with the coronary pulling down like that, that shouldn't be that way. I didn't know that for years and years, see? And the way you see the frog corium there, how it's pushed out, shouldn't be that way. This coronary band should go straight back like that, like that. But anyway, I didn't kill the horse. He died of colic for a whole other reason. It was a vet's fault and stuff, poor horse. But anyway, I sure learned a lot from his feet. And now when I look at him, it just really sorrows me to know what I was doing to this horse, what I did to my horses, and I did to some other horses, and some others that I'm correcting still even now. So, like it says on the group page, you know, forgive yourself for what you didn't know before you learned it. Well, guess what? You know, we got to forgive other people too. I've had a little harder time doing that with some people, but I think I'm getting better, and I really want to have a different attitude about that issue. So your trimmers, your farriers, your teachers, all this stuff, we're all basically victims of traditions that have been passed down to us for 1,000 years or so. A good book to read is George Fleming. It's on the Internet Archive. It's George Fleming's The History of Horseshoes and Horseshoeing, their history, uses, and abuses. 700 and some page book where he gives you detailed history of what men have believed and practiced on horses' feet. It's very, very interesting. So these traditions and these beliefs have been around a long time, and tradition dies hard. So anyway, okay, so now this is an illustration I made when I realized that the sole was not concave, that the lamina up here on the foot and the sole corium was not like it was in the pictures of an anatomical drawings that I had seen people do, that they've been doing for 100 years or more. So I'm just going to read this to you here, just a minute here. It says, understand the true shape and form of the sole. Concentric, convex, and concave. Say, why is that? Because the sole corium lips up over the outside of the foot. See, if it was just concave, it wouldn't lip up over the outer exterior of the foot. It would only be under the very, very, very bottom. Okay? And so what I say here is, for some unknown reason, neither farriers, vets, nor anatomists of the hoof have realized that the sole is not concave, but convex and concave, which is concentric, and that the foot that the sole corium lifts up over the superior border of the outer upper surface of the foot, thus producing a convex ridge of sole growth around the perimeter of the foot. And see, I've drawn a picture here. It goes like this. It is convex around the whole rim here. And then after you get in about, I can't remember, a little ways here, then as soon as it gets right under the coffin bone, then it turns concave. But a lot of times, and what you'll see on some of these wild horses is the sole will almost look flat. And that's because they have this big, huge, inch-thick convex sole ridge, and then what I call this the bowl of the sole, right here where it's concave, and then that fills up with sole, and so it can almost look flat. And other times you'll see where as the wall is growing out, because the sole attaches to the wall, it can actually look like it's just totally concave. But in reality, what you have here growing around the perimeter of the foot is a convex ridge of this super strong sole that when it grows, it is actually the same size as a shoe you would nail onto a foot. How interesting is that? And I'll show you some that are like that. Okay, let's see, I don't remember what I was doing here. Okay, I was just gonna show, this was a picture I got where I just show that, how it's concave right here, but you can see that convex piece of sole here. This is just where I was doing some measurements. Trying to figure out, this is what I was trying to figure out, how would you map this? How would you know? You know, see here I'm show how the sole truly grows right here. See there? Okay, now right here, it gets concave. It goes like that. See, I have it right here. There's convex there, but then it turns concave here, and that is what you call crescentric. I hope it's what you call crescentric. Every once in a while, I'll find something, I'll run into something I said and I wrongly defined it or something. So, but that's the thing about this. When we find stuff, words we say that don't describe things right, stuff like that, we just change. We just correct ourselves and we just change because tradition kills. Okay, tradition that is not truth kills. Especially when regards to medicine or anatomy or anything of the physical laws. You have to follow the physical and natural laws. And wherever you don't, you can't just make stuff up and have it be true. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and read this, see what I said. I wonder when I did this one. Just a minute, we're going to look and see. When did I do this? Okay, I did this in 2016, I guess. Oh, well, I modified it in 2016. I'm pretty sure I did it quite a while before that. This was that last one I did, but I modified it and used it to try and figure out measurements for mapping. That's what I was doing. Okay. So anyway, we're not going to read all that, but I'll post that. Okay, here we go. Now, I'm just going to let you look at this foot. Now I told you what a true foot, well, before we do that, just a minute, these are some of the, okay, now here is a dissection I want you to look at now. Okay, this is the lamina. It starts here, okay, and it goes down to right there. And then who could tell me what this is? I got it marked, but what is that?
Sole corium.
That's right. Okay, and where does it start? Does it start on the very, 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 very bottom or somewhere else?
Good question.
Well, I mean, look at the picture. Where's it
Oh,
start?
yeah, at the end of the lamina.
Right there. And is that at the very, very bottom of the foot?
Nope.
No, it's not, is it? Okay, so that means if I have sole corium here, I have sole groin here. Is not that correct?
Yep.
Okay, so now look at the picture of this foot here. Now, can you see the sole? How it's growing there? See that little lip right there? Let me make it bigger. See it? How this would fit down in there? See how the sole, now doesn't that make sense? That the sole would actually grow from this lip. So actually it would encase the foot so that the foot wouldn't be moving all around. You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
It actually grows its own stability system there. What if it just grew from right at the very edge here? Here, just a minute here. Where is annotate? What if it grew just from right? That's not good. Let's see. What if it just grew from right there? See, if it just grew from right there, then it would be, well, here's the foot. Okay. Here's the inner foot. Okay. Let's see. If it just grew from, well, even then, that's still kind of hard to do. But let me try something else. Just a minute to make. Okay. Let's say this is the underside of the foot. Okay. Okay. So if the sole corium started right here at the very end, then the sole would be what? Concave, right?
Uh-huh.
Okay, but it doesn't. It starts right here. So what's that make it?
Convex.
Convex till you get it right about here. And then it gets concave, see? So it actually is shaped like this. Kinda. That's not a very good drawing. Okay, so there's anyway one picture where we see, just a minute. Okay, so there's one picture of an inner foot. That's not my dissection. Let's see. You can kind of see it. Well, you can kind of see it here, that it comes around the end here. See, here's another thing. While I got you here, this is why you don't want to let a bunch of junk build up right here. You see how that's damaged the sole corium right there?
Linda?
Okay. Yeah? Oh,
With
just a minute. Just a minute. I got an emergency. Hold on. Can you all hold on for a minute? Because I got a guy out here with a tractor supposed to butch hog my pasture. So just take a little break and I'll come right back, okay?
Okay.
Okay, sorry. Yeah. Okay. Okay, I'm back. All right, so on these pictures, you can't see it real clear, but we'll see here in a minute. Okay, this is another wild horse foot. I claim fair use. This horse belonged to America, even though that's found on Pete Ramey's page. Okay, so this guy, he gave me permission to use this foot. But I thought this was really interesting. You see how if your sole builds up right here like that, what it can do to the sole corium? See, look at the sole corium on this foot. See, this is a wild horse foot. Look how smooth and nice that is. Okay, look at the thickness of the frog, holy Hannah. But anyway, that's something, you know, you don't want a bunch of buildup, because on the foot itself, you don't have that. Okay,
Linda?
so yeah.
On a thin-soled horse, would you want to be taking that out, or would you want to leave it there?
Well, I can't tell you. I don't know. I mean, I try and clean that up, you know, as much as possible. You know, I just can't tell you everything. I mean, all I know is that you want a clean sole. You know, look what it does. Look what it does. You know, so here's the thing. Here's the thing. If a sole does not exfoliate regularly, then it clogs up, it doesn't grow, and it dies. So if you have dead sole over what should be live, living, growing, exfoliating sole, this is what it's going to do to your inner foot. So let's say you come along then and you clean all this up. Well, wherever you have dead sole covering live sole, that sole doesn't grow. So then you've come in here and you've removed this and your horse is sore. Well, I wonder why. Because the sole has been clogged up and not growing there for how long? You know, so now you've uncovered it. Now the horse has to heal and start growing some sole.
Linda,
Yeah.
is that actually part of the bar that's overgrown, or is it?
Where, here?
Yeah.
That's just part of the, you know, this, you can tell that this foot, the heels are trimmed out, and so everything's pushed forward and growing forward.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so this is just, well, that's what's growing right here. Look at it. See?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what it was. It was just nasty clogged up sole. Bar's end right here. The bar end's right about there.
Okay. All right.
That's a decision somebody has to make. You know what I mean? Like, because I've had people go before, well, just leave it, the horse needs it. Well, really, do they? Maybe in a sense, because it's been there so long, it's clogging up that sole and that sole's not growing. So what do you want? Do you want fresh, clean, good growing sole on the bottom of your horse's foot? You know, if you got a big old nasty callus and you go get it removed, is that area, it's got new skin and it's got to heal up, right? This is no different. You know, what
I'm glad you showed this picture tonight, because I've been noticing a little bit of that on my mare, and I will start working on that. Thanks.
Okay, you're welcome. Well,
thank you.
Well, you know, some of this stuff is hard for me to tell people, because I know that when you do certain things, but it ain't going to be like what they do now. But I know that when you do certain things, yeah, your horse can be off where he was just maybe dead there, didn't feel nothing, you know, or I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. I just know what I see here. You know what I mean? And I know that my horse has none of this crap on the bottom of his foot, you know, and that his sole grows and grows and grows and is very clean all in here. Was it always? No. But I finally just got the gumption. See, what you do here, what I've done is I study this internal foot and try and determine how this capsule should be growing from it. And one of the things about the anatomically correct trim, which is what I always thought that they were teaching me, you know, and stuff. So this is what I've always thought we were supposed to be doing. One thing about it is, you notice everything on the bottom of this foot has a boundary. The bars have a boundary, the frog has a boundary, the sole has a boundary. but everything can overgrow or gum up or whatever, and then it starts infringing and damaging the internal parts. So see, this horse just couldn't wear this out, and it's stuck there. And here you see what it was doing to his soul corium, because we'll look at, well, here. Well, this horse had a good soul corium in here. I mean, he had a little build up here, but there's nothing wrong with that. It's when you get these big chunks, you know? And so he had a good, you know, smooth, clean soul corium in here, and you'll see some other feet that have it. Now, this foot here, okay, what I'm showing you here, this is the soul corium that's connected to the coffin bone. You see that? That's also cartilage. It's cartilage and it's soul corium. It surrounds and covers the coffin bone. And again, it lips up over like this. So that's why the soul is convex here, and then underneath it gets concave. Let's do, oh, that's better. Yeah, there you go. So this is your soul corium. Again, the soul corium is clear up over here. It isn't just, if it was just right there, then yeah, you could say it's only convex, okay? But unfortunately, it's clear out here, so it grows like that. Now, it does grow in tubules, so they're straight, but the form is like convex around the perimeter, and then once you get about here, it goes concave. Okay, well, here we go. This is a nice, very modern, called the horse's hoof, or I don't know what it's called, but it's on the internet, and you can download it, and you get all these, it's a foot that they made by a computer. What's the one thing, the difference between this foot, which is a real foot, and that foot? Just a minute, I'll make it bigger. What's the difference between this foot and this foot?
They're where the tubules are joining the soul corium, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And also, well, I mean, I just see where they just kind of like end there.
Yeah, they end right at the very end of the foot, don't they?
Yeah, at the end where the wall is, yeah.
Yeah, so on this foot here, what shape would the sole be?
It'd be totally concave from the toe back to the apex.
Right, okay, but on this foot, what are you gonna have?
You're going to, well, you're gonna have the ridge, the sole ridge.
Yeah, it's gonna be shaped like that, see? That sole ridge.
When we take back our toe,
Uh-huh.
well, where is that sole ridge anatomically then? Is it
About it's about a fourth of an inch ahead of what you see right here.
so
right
where's
here.
the white line? Where would the white line be?
About a fourth of an inch ahead of that.
Okay, great. So
Fourth
we're not,
to a half. I'll have to remember, because the coffin bone ends right here. Then the soul corium ends right here. But by the time the hoof wall grows down, because it grows down and forward, see? Like that. Here,
yeah.
we'll do this just a second here. We'll annotate. Okay, just a second here. Okay, so the wall, so it grows down right here, and then it keeps growing forward, see? So once you get right there, well, the sole is right there. Let's submit it here. Okay, so your white line, see, is gonna be in front of that. So this sole, just a minute here. You know, ultimately the sole is kind of like this. So you're gonna have that ridge of sole around the whole perimeter of the foot here.
So even if we bevel up to the white line, into the white line, we're not going to do any damage to that area.
No,
That's why I asked.
Yeah, in fact, just a minute. Let's back up a little bit. Let's see. Well, I don't know what I did with that. Just a minute. Okay, right here is where I did that deal where I was trying to figure that
Oh,
out.
yeah.
Just what you're saying there, see?
Right. Yeah.
So see, right here, you're beveling back to here,
Right.
right here. So that there's just, and you're not even, you know, you've still got very good support of the wall for the sole here.
Mhm.
And the bevel that we do, even though we're clear back here to the white line, it's still, well, look here, see, there's the foot.
Yeah. And even when we scribe out, because I'm noticing like a little bit of sole buildup by my white line. And
Mm-hmm.
even when if I scribe that, I'm not going to even touch that sole ridge.
No, nope,
Gotcha.
not at all. And you come right
Okay.
up there against the wall. You're just defining it. Think of it like that. You're
Mhm.
defining the wall and the sole and the
The
border
junction.
between them,
Mhm.
looking for the white line between them, basically.
Yes. Thank you.
Okay.
Good class as usual, Linda. Thank you.
Well, thanks, dear. Okay, so we're gonna, I want to look at some more feet to assure you that what I'm saying is true. Okay, well, here's a cow's foot. Looky there, their sole corium is even lips up out over the other. So next time you're in the pet store, get a cow's foot and look inside there at the sole. See what I mean? See, they got lamina and everything, and you're going to see that the sole doesn't start clear down here, that it lips up over. It'd be like a form-fitted, I don't know, little area here. I'm having a hard time looking for a word. But anyway, look, the lamina starts here on the cow's foot, goes down to here, and the sole starts here. So even the sole of a cow's foot is crescentric, has a convex perimeter ridge of Sol. Let's see. Okay, well, here. Okay, let's look at this foot here. Okay, this again is not, neither one of these are my dissections right here. These are ones on the internet. Look at there, fair use for educational and critiquing purposes only. Okay, now look here, this is a wild horse foot. This horse had super thick walls and an inch of sole, and he's pulling down the sole right there. If he was to let go, this edge of the sole right here would go clear up to there. Do you see what I'm saying? Okay, so do you see how the lamina comes to here, connects with the sole where? Before it ever gets to the bottom of the foot. And that's what makes that convex ridge of Sol. See? It's just like if you glued a shoe on there, like a rim shoe that lipped up over the edge of your, you know, well, heck, they make boot things just like that, you know. So, and look here at this foot right here. Look at there, same thing. Let's turn it around here. Okay. Okay, do you see that foot there? Lamina goes to there. Right here, the sole corium starts. Look at that. See, I've marked it so you can see the shape of it. So that is the shape of the sole. So around the whole perimeter of the foot, you have this convex ridge of Sol. And there again, you see it. Okay, now watch this. Oh, wait a minute. Well, since we got it here, and this is why I made this, to show how, look at this. You know what book this is? This is one of the most famous farrier blah, blah books, right? Adams and whoever, Lameness in Horses. All right, this, now instead of showing a real foot like this, they show a drawing. Why is that? Now look at what they've done with the drawing. They show the inner foot. Look at, it says shows the lamina going all the way to the end of the foot with the sole corium only directly under the foot both in error of the true anatomy. Do you see that? See, it's just in me. Now look at the way they've made the sole look. Looks totally concave, doesn't it? Okay, that's just one book. I already showed you one foot on the internet of a computer depiction that a bunch of smarties worked on. Okay, here, let's look over here. What book is this? Oh, the Bible of Veterinary Medicine, Merrick Vet Manual. Okay, versus a real foot. That's why I put this here. Okay, of course I'm so nice, I go throw it in the trash. Why can't they show a picture? Why not? I mean, Merrick Vet Manual, don't you think they would have a picture that they could show? Why do they have to make a drawing? See, it's almost like they're deceiving you on purpose. It's like they're going, well, we've been so screwed up for so long, and we really don't want anybody to know it because they're going to lose their confidence in us. Now, that probably isn't what's really going on, but it sure is weird, don't you think? You would think they could show a picture of a horse's foot. I mean, I don't even have a degree, and I did, you know. So, you know, they can't even get a horse's foot right. Uh-oh. Okay, so here you go. Here's the Merrick Vet Manual again. What do you see here? You see the lamina going all the way to the very, 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 very end. Okay.
Linda,
Yeah, what?
have you ever thought of what happens when we trim out when the heels are trimmed out and everything is, you know, distorted in the back of the foot? How does that affect the sole corium? Does it thin it, crush it, thicken it, destroy it?
Yeah, well, whatever. I know it's not
You know what I
good
mean?
because we can't get any sole in our horses. You know, the different things destroy it.
Huh.
That would destroy your heels, the sole corium in your heels.
Huh.
It covers it up and harms
Right.
it, you know, and then,
Right.
you know, all this stuff about don't trim the bars, don't trim this, don't trim that. And then you got all this gobbledygook building up in the bottom of that foot. It'd just be like you if you had rocks in your shoes, you know, that the feeling on your foot and what it would do to your skin and stuff like that. Because all corium is skin. That's all this is skin. Now, we don't think of it as skin because when we're looking at it like this, we see red, you know, and it's blood. And so when we think of that, we think of, ooh, internal organs. But this is not an internal organ. This is a foot that grows its own shoe. Is it composed of parts? Yes. But it is one solid unit. It is covered with skin. See, to drive that point home, we need to look at another picture here real quick. Okay, there you go. This is when you soak these feet, you get all the blood out of them. They're the same color as skin, just like that. Now that is skin. You know, when I dry these feet out, they turn to leather. What is leather made out of? Somebody tell me what leather is made out of?
Yeah, it's the skin and hair of the, oh, it's just the skin. The hair is all removed.
Right. So when you have one of these feet and you remove, well, it'll do two things. If you soak it in salt, it turns into leather. The covering, the laminas, the frog corium, the sole corium, the bar corium, the lamina, the coronary corium, it all turns into leather. When you just dry it out, you know what it turns into? Rawhide. That's why it's really easy to preserve these feet. Like, the thing is, though, the digital cushion will totally shrink up because it's totally fat. And so it'll totally shrink up and that'll all suck up out of there, but and get smaller. But the rest of the foot turns into leather. And so it's just a foot. It's a foot. It may have parts in it, just like your foot, and it only has one bone. Well, yeah, one bone, the coffin bone, like it'd be the end of your, middle toe or something. I don't know, middle finger. But it's just it's a whole foot. See? Okay, so here you can kind of see that convex ridge of Sol a little bit there. See it? Just kind of like that. All right. So I have way more pictures of these feet that have been soaked, and they're the same color as your skin. In fact, when you shave the leg and get all the hair off of it, and then you soak the foot and you get all the blood out of it, the color of the foot is the same color as the hide on the leg. Isn't that interesting? Okay. Okay, let's go back here. Let's just keep looking. Okay, here's a good fit. This was a really good fit. This horse had a really good foot. And look at the bars and everything, but I'm trying to show here, even though it looks concave, what you have here is a big convex ridge of Sol. And then it just blends right in. Well, that's the way the foot looks. See, the internal foot looks like that. Well, am I freezing up now? Oh, there we go. Okay, here's another one. Again, the lamina goes down to here and you can see the Sol corium right here. Okay, now some of this heel's trimmed out. There, see how it's pulling the coronary band down like that? Shouldn't be like that. When you trim the heels out, this is what happens. So binding that foot, bending that foot. Okay, this is a wild horse foot again. Okay, let's look at the Sol. Okay, look at it here. Do you see it? That's that convex ridge of Sol right there. Look how it blends. It's really not even concave like what you usually see. Now look at the thickness of the Sol, how thick it is. So hard to tell here because it's setting. This lips up over into the Sol corium. You see how that would stabilize the foot with the Sol growing up around the outer perimeter just a bit? It's like the foot is setting in a bowl of Sol. Okay, here you go. I'm just going to read what I said here. This is an anatomically correct inner foot form where the coronary band goes straight back. See right there? I drew it in green. What happens when you trim the heels out? See, because 2/3 of this foot is cartilage and fat. 1/3 is a coffin bone. The back of the heel right here, all this is cartilage and fat. So it can all be deformed. And so you can see how the lamina grows down to here. There's the convex rim of Sol skin, corium dermis, that grows the Sol. You can see here how the lamina lines go down. Then this piece of wall would hook up with that piece of Sol and they would grow down to the ground together. And that is why the horn tubules must be in alignment there. So when you trim the heels out, it sends them all cattywampus growing forward. So that's why you don't get any Sol around the perimeter of your foot. See, look here, he's got a good inch of Sol in this horse, uniform Sol thickness. Okay. Oops. Okay, I just trying to figure out some stuff there. Okay, this is a dissection I did, but this is just showing how you need some heel What we got going on now is the heels are trimmed out of people's horses, and their horses are sitting down on their sensitive bulbs here. And what that also does, it strips this frog stay right out of the foot. And this frog corium, this is a frog. This is the frog that was on this horse. That's how thick his frog was, up off the ground. You see his heels there, and the cap, well, you see the capsule, and he had this much frog under there.
Don't move that picture.
Okay, you gonna take a picture?
I'm not going to ask you a question, but I should take a picture.
Okay.
So what you're saying is that the picture on the right with the frog,
Mm-hmm.
that little piece of heel, that's the actual heel buttress, and that is a separate piece than what the
This right here?
Yeah.
No, this is his inner heel.
Okay.
That's the
And-
cartilage of his inner heels.
And so when that is what gets really crushed and destroyed when they cut the heels out,
Yeah.
and then that has to straighten up and get normal, and
Well,
then hopefully a sole grows there too and wall
Yeah.
again.
Yeah. And
Oh, no
once you get it
kidding.
right,
That's a great picture.
yeah, the sole will grow. But this shows you, see what this show, I don't know why this is right here, because this is the sole section. But anyway, this just shows you how you have to have some heels. Now say, because see your frog corium's right here. Well, it has to have room to grow frog. This was that horse's frog. It was huge. See, the horse had tremendous feet before I got a hold of him. You know, and still the remainder of his foot was still really good. I was just in the process of pulling all this down. Actually, this all should have been up here like this.
Yeah.
Oh, just a minute.
We got it.
Just a minute. I got to go pay the tractor guy. Okay, goody goody, got my pasture bush hog.
That was quick.
Yeah, well, he had a humongous bush hog.
Oh,
Only cost me $30.
nice.
Yeah. Okay, let's see where we're at here.
Oh, I was going to ask another question on that foot.
Okay.
Okay, so the foot that has the wall still on it, the very the side on the left of the screen. So if you look at that heel, there's like no the other heel, Linda. Sorry.
Okay, the wall ain't on there though.
Oh, that's
This
not,
foot, this is all the same foot.
So what? So that's okay. So what is that line?
This right here, that's the
where's it?
hairline.
No, down the middle
This
picture.
right here. Oh, the
Where's
middle
your hair?
picture.
Yeah, that middle picture. Now go over to the left. The other left. Sorry.
I
A
still
little
don't know my
more.
left from my right. Right here.
No, a little more into that. A little more. You can see it. They're right there. Now go down to the ground. What's that line there?
Oh, it's just a little crack or little horn tubule or dirt
And
or
that is
something.
wall. That's
Huh?
wall, right?
Yeah, this
That's
is
the-
wall.
yeah.
This
Okay.
is bulb skin, and this is hoof. This is heel buttress. Bar
Okay.
goes right there. This is the
Okay.
heel buttress right here, and the hoof wall.
Because I have a bunch of those little lines in my foot right now.
Okay,
And I'm
well,
just-
the heel buttress in and of itself has a different texture than the
okay.
hoof wall, and that's why the frog sticks to it.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah, isn't that amazing? And that's why
Yes.
when we're restoring these feet, we trim the frog out, you know, in here, in the collateral groove, trim all that out so that, because as the foot is being reduced from being over trimmed, the periopal and the frog all gets smaller and stays in this one little form. And so you have to trim all that out so the foot can expand again before you let that frog grow back correctly.
That's what a lot of us were talking about online
Yeah.
this week, about how do we know what when it is, where it's attached, and at what point do we stop trimming it and what point do we trim it.
Yeah, we can look at some of that too.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so this is just a plaster cast I made of one of the dissections I did, which is pretty neat. I'm glad I did that because I didn't know how to preserve the feet. So when I made plaster casts, then years later, I would look at them after I had learned a whole bunch and I would be able to tell what was wrong or right with them. This is that same wild horse's foot that we saw that had the inch of sole. Now, does that look real concave? It doesn't, does it? Not real concave? Can anybody answer me there? Feedback.
Yeah, I lost my mic. Yes, it does not.
It doesn't, does it?
No.
It looks concave maybe right in here a little bit. You know,
Yeah.
but if you look, you can see the convex ridge of Sol. Here, we'll annotate, draw it. Let's see. Let's go blue. Okay, so it goes like this. Okay, it gets concave right about here. Okay, and the sole ridge is just like this. See there? And right underneath the coffin bone here is where it's actually concave. Okay. Let's see. Okay. Well, anyway, we're out of the sole section now. We're going to go back. Okay. Okay, here's an old drawing. Back from the late 1800s, early 1900s. How are they drawing the foot? Still, now here it's interesting. You do see kind of a ridge there on it, but here pretty much the lamina all the way to the end, right? So it goes to show you how long they have thought this. Plus, look at the, there's no definition in the heel. This horse had his heels trimmed out and this is crushed. This was a crushed foot. I know, because see, Molly's foot was like similar to this. This is a deformed foot that they drew here, but they didn't know it. See, the one reason that they don't know about the truth about the sole is because hoof capsules are so hard to take off that most of the dissections they did, they cut the foot in half. And so when they look at the foot, they look at it not as if it's a foot, but as a capsule with parts in it. So when you cut the foot in half down the middle, you don't really see. And so you see how this foot has been basically distorted and deformed, whoever drew this, 100 and some years ago. Let's see. Okay, there's that foot again. So this is something I want you to think about. Laminitis. Two things that they do. One, they do not believe that the sole bears weight. And so they'll come in here and they will carve out the sole. They will carve out this ridge of sole that should be here. Just a minute here. We'll draw. Okay, you see this sole, they've got it looking kind of concave there. You see that? You see where the coffin bone is. And then, just a minute here. See, ideally, it would be more like this. See, you see how that would support that bone in there much better?
Yeah.
And you
Yeah.
see how the weight goes right here, where the wall, okay, now you'd take part of the wall off like this. See, and you see how the weight is right here. See, no leverage on the toe right here. What happens, now this is depicting laminitis, okay? When you come up here and you take the support of this sole out, that should be like this. See, what happens? Well, look where look what's going on there. They've taken the strength out, and then they wonder, they set the horse on the wall, bearing the weight on the wall to transfer. They're literally, this is what they believe. They believe that the horse bears its weight here. Did anybody, now I've taught this before, but like you new people, did you know that that's what they believe? That they don't believe that the horse bears the weight here on the wall rim. They believe that the horse bears the weight on the lamina right here. Ancient, I don't know how ancient, some idiot in the medieval ages, I think it was some lawyer, that would be about right. There was a lawyer, okay, I'll tell you the story. There was a lawyer in Rome, and he owned a farm, okay, and when he retired, he went to the farm and he decided he would write a book on agriculture. And one of the things he wrote about was the horse's hoof and how he thought it fit together and how he thought it should be trimmed, okay? And so I think it was from him that this belief came that the horse was suspended on the sides of his foot on the lamina. And so you have to carve out the sole here, force the weight on the wall here to transfer the weight to the lamina here. So what are they doing? What are they producing when they do that? Can anybody tell me? There's a word for it.
Leverage and laminitis.
Yep.
What'd you
Laminitis.
call it? Oh, laminitis. Okay.
They produce laminitis by their belief in the way they trim. See, how messed up is that? Now you know why there's an epidemic of laminitis. So ideally, if the sole grows right, you know, that sole ridge right up there. Now the sole doesn't, of course, grow like that. It grows down in tubes, but you see, and then the bowl of the sole here fills up. And so you would have sole that went pretty much could look like that. See, especially around the end over here. Okay, anyway, let me undo that. Clear all drawings. Oh, that's on another deal here. I think that's a pretty old picture on my mare when I was trimming her feet out of her. Let's see when this was. 718, no, it's modified. Well, this is way older than that. I wonder where this came from. Yeah, because she died longer than that ago. Huh, wonder why. Well, when you transfer these pictures, it changes everything. Okay, Life Data Labs. Here you go. Here's their picture. It's similar. They must have taken this out of that Adam's Lameness in Horses. See? Again, are they depicting the true foot of the horse? No, they don't even have the coronary band right. Look at there, they got the coronary band covered with hair. See, and we're depending on these people to tell us what's what. And of course, supply us with all kinds of stuff to make our horses' feet good, right? Let's see here, just a second here. Okay. Okay, this is a dissection of my mare's foot. And this just shows how the sole corium lips up over the edge. I put not a callus. You know, does the sole and the toe get compacted? Yeah. But should you just let the toe grow and grow and grow and never trim it? No. This is just a deal I did on what is the shape of your horse's foot. See, when your walls grow incorrect, then it changes what the look of the shape of the foot looks like. So if you kind of know, this is the true shape of a rear foot. It is more spade shaped. This is the true shape of a front foot. It is, you know, more oval. Feet are not round. Anyway, so we're back to here. I know I got some more sole stuff somewhere. Okay, so the sole. Let's look at my horse's sole pictures. Just a minute here. Where would he be? Okay. This foot had not been trimmed in quite a while. I'm getting a whole new frog stay, totally different than what I started with, which these bulbs were squeezed together and it was just a little sliver here. And now you can see this big, thick chunk of frog growing in there. So I hadn't trimmed him in quite a while till the other day, and I was amazed at how much change his foot had gone through. Okay, so you see the coronary band, how straight it is. That's the thing we're looking for too. It's a coronary. Why is it called coronary? Because it crowns the top of the foot. You don't want a crown that is pulled down and bent in the back. See, that's supposed to be straight around the whole foot like that. Okay, so there's this frog stay. I mean, it's totally different than what it was.
So Linda,
Yeah.
looking at these live horses' feet, can you describe for us how you can determine the depth of these soles?
Okay, well, let's see here. If you have a correct heel buttress, which from the exit of the collateral groove, if the frog was trimmed out to the ground, would be about 1 inch, or if you were measuring it from the hairline to the ground and it was the true buttress, it would be 2 inches if you had about 2 inches. Okay, if you can get a correct buttress, then you can get a correct amount of sole in the heel platform. And around, and if your wall is correct here, look here, let's see, you got to have the frame right for the sole before anything. Just a minute here. Okay, so remember that the sole, oh, that ain't what I want. The sole has to have support and it has to have the correct frame. Okay, your wall, inner wall grows to here, connects with the sole, and it grows right to there. And then so the sole and the toe, like this foot would be about 3.5 inches. And that's going to give you almost 1 inch of sole right here. If this wall is correct and supporting the sole correctly. But what if your wall is out here? Where's that sole going to be? See, first of all, it'd be more like this. Just a minute here. Be more like this. Okay, then if you don't have any heel, then you're going to have sole about like that, about that thick. See, you got to have your frame right because the walls encase the sole and keep it in its correct position under the foot. If your walls are not in the correct position and your frame is not framed up and in alignment the way it's supposed to be, this sole ridge that you're trying to grow is not going to be correct. And you want 3/4 to an inch of uniform thickness. That'd be the same length from here to here and here to here. Uniform thickness sole ridge, growing around the perimeter of that foot and filling up the heel. So, just a minute here. So, this all has to be the frame. Okay, now this is just showing the front and the back. If we're looking at the sides, you know, it would be like so. You know what I mean? And so your sole is going to be right in there like that. You want that uniform sole thickness all the way around the foot. So to get that, you have to get your frame right. You have to frame it up correctly with the walls and the heel buttress. I can't have any more sole in the heel than I have correct heel buttress there. Okay, measuring, I do not believe that measuring sole depth by the depth of the collateral groove is accurate, because when you trim these heels out, you can bend the whole foot and you bend the underside up. And so then when you're measuring that, well, the underside of that foot is sucked up and you've forced this phony concavity into it. And so what happens then? You're going to be measuring and thinking you have a whole bunch of sole, when in reality, you have not got anything correct sole there at all.
Yeah, that's what my concern was about measuring collateral grooves, is that it really wasn't accurate.
Yeah, I don't really believe that. What the way he does that, because first of all, he doesn't know the true anatomy of the sole. He doesn't know the true anatomy of the walls or the structure of the walls. It's like, this is his picture, right? This is a foot he dissected, but he never studied it. I've been studying this foot for, well, I got videos on YouTube from 2009 or something like that, 2009 something, you know, where I started using this, looking at this, trying to figure out what was going on here. But it wasn't until 2016 that I discovered this little thing back here and that we'd been trimming it out. You know, well, then that led to when I started restoring my mare's feet, and then she died, and then I soaked them, finding that frog stay, what was going on with the frog stay. So this is all continual growth and understanding. But you see, what we're laying here is a foundation. If your foundation is not right in any form of knowledge, how can you build anything correct on it? Is that not true?
Yeah, I get exactly what you're saying there. And, you know, we're working on getting, you know, the foot back in alignment and getting all the, you know, the tubules lined up. But what I still don't understand is, as we're doing this, how do we look for physical signs that we're getting sole built up?
You'll start seeing a sole ridge.
So we're looking for the sole ridge as an indication of
Yeah,
sole depth.
and
Okay.
and when you lightly start defining and scribing, you'll start seeing it.
Okay.
And when you're looking at you take pictures, you're looking at your walls, you're looking at what's going on with your heel buttress here, what is going on with your cartilage here.
Mm-hmm.
See, if it's all rounded and pulled down, like look at these straight lines,
Right.
okay? If you have anything that's curving like that, your heels are not restored yet. You're still growing in heel that's releasing all this cartilage. Because, you know, this foot can be reduced to this size, you know, with no sole. Because all of this is cartilage and fat. And so all that can be compressed and into the foot. When you trim the heels out and you trim and it strips the frog material off of the frog corium, then you have a lot of room to be able to manipulate the whole back of that foot and conform it into a smaller capsule that you're creating by your trim.
Okay. Yeah, I was getting all of the parts about the buttress and the coronary band and the tubules lining up. I just felt like that the part that I was missing was how to read the sole growth.
Well, when you start defining it, you'll start seeing it. And then when things start getting really good is when your heels finally start filling up with sole. Now, on my heels, the medial heel was full and compressed, but the lateral heels were like concave and hollow. You know,
Right.
and now they're getting full. So I'm going to show you something here. Just a minute. So we're looking for a sole ridge all the way around the perimeter of the foot. In a lot of the mapping that I do, you can see it. If you do the mapping, and you'll start to see it, you know, like here, just a minute here. So okay, so what I have here now, his frog was starting to attach to the heels. You see this? Now this frog is, in fact, almost as high as the heels. Do you see that? See
Yes.
right there?
Yes.
But I have cut the frog out of the collateral grooves here. And it has been cut clear down to here. But because see the frog, okay, first of all, you look at that heel. Do you see those lines?
Yes.
See, that's because the frog skin sticks into that. And the frog skin grows from right here, and the frog skin will stick to the heel and grow all the way to here. And it will look like periopal skin. But what's periopal skin is right here. That coronary band goes straight back. It's still a little bit bent down right in here. It has to come up and be perfectly straight. See it, how it's bent in under right there?
Right.
Shouldn't be like that. It has to come and be perfectly straight around here. So eventually this frog stay is going to push that up. So when you're restoring these heels, you don't want any frog attached to the heel buttress here, because the frog has been pushed forward. It's in a distorted, deformed spot. And then if it grows a whole bunch of frog and sticks to the heels and everything, it's going to hold your foot right where it's at.
Yeah, that was something new that I learned from you about cleaning out the frog material from the collateral groove and the periopal. You get those little flaps on the back there. I trimmed it off, and I hadn't really been doing that good of a job of cleaning up that back of the foot until I was, started following you, and I can see a big difference now.
Oh, good, because see, this is just kind of stuff that's really, we've been doing the periopal for a while, and we realized that the frog skin stuck to the heels, but there were just some parts missing about how we really had to stay on that frog and really keep that frog thinned down so that that foot can move.
Right.
Okay, so another thing is, okay, look here. See the bend in the bar?
Mm-hmm.
See now, if you look at the side of the foot, you'll see the heels are still forward. Okay, so for this foot to be ideal, the bend in that bar would have to come out. That would have to be straight. see, and the heel's back more. So I'm going to work on that, trying to figure that out. But what I want you to see here is how much sole I got in the heels.
Right.
See?
Okay.
Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take and I'm going to form it to look more like the shape of the foot and not allow this to just be one big thick ridge in here.
Okay.
Now I didn't always have that. This side was way asymmetrical more than it is. It's still kind of little out there. And this side was real thick and heavy, and this side, it was real thin, and there was no sole supporting the wall and the bar. So when you're first restoring these heels, because this is what you want the sole all the way around. Do you see the sole ridge?
Yes.
And you see how it is in the heels?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So when you're first starting to restore these heels, because the sole has been covered over in this part of the foot here, let's look at this. Let's see, we got to look at this other deal here, because you can't just look at what you're seeing here. You have to keep referring back to the inner foot. That's really what we're trying to protect and grow this stuff from. And let's see here if I can find it. Somebody's got crickets.
Oh, that's me. Sorry.
No, that's okay. I was like, I hear crickets.
I'm sitting right by the open window.
Oh, that's funny. Okay, let's see. I'm going to open that one. Okay, so this is what you're this is what you're dealing with. This is your horse's inner foot. And so look how clean everything is. This was still a good foot, even though I pulled the back of the foot down a bit and stuff. This is still a good inner foot. See? So you can see where the sole is here, where it's supposed to be. You know, so that's this sole ridge on this foot. You got a big, thick, full sole ridge right here that you're growing. There's a heel. See the heels?
Mm-hmm.
That's the inner heel. See how they have a definition? You know, there's where your bar would be growing. Here's your frog corium that grows your frog. The central sulcus is not supposed to be a hole. It's supposed to be full of frog. In fact, I don't even think a central sulcus, well, never mind. I'm going to strike that comment. Let's see. There's another foot I'm looking for here. Oh. Okay. Okay, so this I'm showing the sole on this foot. You see where the sole should be on the foot here, but when the heels are trimmed out, they move forward like this, and they wound up, look where it would cover up the foot. You see there?
Right.
Okay, so this on this foot I showed where when the heels are restored. See, signs to look for are these curves where it shows how the sole corium, or not the frog corium here, has been pulled under the foot. And, you know, you can see it. Sometimes you'll see it on the side of the foot. Sometimes you won't. Okay, so, you know, so you're wanting an inch of sole corium, but you want a correct sole corium, not sole corium, sole growing from this foot here. See, on that heel there, all in here. And then, of course, underneath the bowl of the sole, everything, you know, the sole growing there too. Okay, let's go back here. So see, getting this sole correct, there's a lot of things. You got to get the frame right. You got to have, you know, your heel buttress right, your toe back correct, and your coronary band correct, and everything in alignment, and then you're going to grow good sole. You see, I've been working at this for 4 years now, and now I have this tremendous sole in my horse's foot. Let's see, let's keep looking at that. See, but now look, it looks concave, doesn't it? Kinda.
Yeah.
Can you see? But what do I have here? I have a sole ridge, and then this nice concavity there, but then this nice thick sole ridge, because that was meant to bear weight with the wall. See? And so what does the farrier do? He comes up here and he carves it out and forces the horse on a shoe on the wall. See? Because that's what they've been taught. The foot is supposed to be concave, and you're going to harm the horse if you make it walk on the wall. To where that's true if the sole and the whole structure is not right to begin with, then you get all these weird leverages tearing the foot apart. You know, but when you get the whole foot back together correctly, then you have this super thick, nice sole that looks almost like a shoe built into the foot, a horseshoe.
Yeah, I have 4 different horses who have 4 different 4 different types of feet, and the Percheron is the one I cannot seem to get anywhere
Yeah.
with her. I'm doing the same thing with all 4 horses, and the other 3 are doing really well. And in fact, my Dutch harness horse's feet look like this. He's got really nice
Good. Yeah.
heels. But the Percheron, I just can't get any ground with her, and I don't know what I'm doing wrong.
Well, do you have any pictures of her feet?
Well, I didn't know about this chat until too late tonight, so I'll need to get pictures of her feet and post them for it.
Okay, because they do have some things that go on with them because they're workhorses. That's usually going on in the rear of the foot that's affecting them.
Yeah, and she gets, they get the terrible flares. I'm always,
Yeah, on the heels. Like, do your heels spread out?
Well, she seems to flare the most on the on the quarters.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm always chasing them, and I don't know what I'm doing differently with her that's making me not get progress. So I'm going to do pictures of her and post them.
Okay. Now see, and when I go and look at these feet, I see things I'm doing wrong. Like right here, I want you to see this. Look at the lines in the bar.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you should not cut straight. This is why it's good to trim these frogs down, because then you see what's really going on with your bars. Okay, see, we have a tendency to just trim these bars like this, not realizing that our heels are still bent in forward, which is bending the bar, which is causing these, see these, what do you call it? Circles?
Mm-hmm.
See that? Those rings? Okay, that should be straight. Those should be straight. Those are growth rings.
Right.
That show how the wall is growing. Okay, so what I needed to do is come up here and follow that growth ring like that. Because then when you trim it like this and it's just straight, this little piece here is going to hold that foot right there.
Right.
Like a brace. So I need to come in here next time I trim and follow, and we talked about this once before, and for some reason I kept forgetting it. Follow the bar growth ring when you trim it. Don't trim it like it's a normal bar and straight, because it'll hold your heels right there.
Okay.
So you trim it all the way back to the heel, and you're going to take it, because I see the yellow line of the bar on the top.
Yeah, I'm
And
gonna
it's like you're beveling the bar almost, isn't it?
almost. Well, what you're doing is you're following the growth ring of the bar to follow and that's the actual bar. The other part would be overgrowth. And your heels are pushed forward. So you've got to come a little lower than your heel each time to bring that bar back so that your heels will keep expanding backwards. And then eventually it's going to straighten this bar area up to where this growth ring is going to be straight instead of curved like this.
Linda,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, was somebody else about to ask the same question? I mean, a different question.
Go ahead.
What, Tammy?
What I kind of noticed on some of my feet is when, like what you're saying, when you don't trim that bar down and make it kind of contour with that sole right there.
Yeah.
And then the horses get out in the wet pasture. I think that was part of what was kind of leveraging the capsule off of my foot.
Yeah.
So now I kind of try to, make sure I do keep my bar contoured like that.
Yeah.
I think that was what was causing a lot of problems for me.
Yeah, and I went to Arkansas here last week to visit Susanna, to visit Susanna, and help her trim her foundered, this mare that has been foundered off and on for years, has laminitis. And I'm going to show some pictures of that, because when we trimmed the frog out of the collateral grooves, you could really see what was going on with the bars, and how the bars were holding, how the bars can hold that whole foot. Here we're trying so hard to grow these heels back, but because we have not been consistently trimming these bars correctly and understanding it, it's really held up our progress. I really believe that. So I'll show you some pictures of that trim here in a bit. Okay, now notice here that I also cleaned up this foot, right? You don't see a whole bunch of junk in here, right? See? And there was a time when he had some of that garbage too, but now it cleans up very good. It's smooth. Just like Tammy, boy, you've gotten way, way, way better at cleaning out your horse's feet.
Well, I'll tell you what, I'm not a slow learner. I just take the hard way around.
Me too.
I got to do it wrong first, several different times before I really understand it. And I swear, I think yesterday I took out some sole ridge in the toe, obviously.
Well, good.
But I was starting to see, a bowl in some of my feet like that. But I'm telling you right now that I didn't see that until I started cleaning out those collateral grooves real good.
Yeah. Yeah.
So this has just been in the last few weeks.
Oh, well, good.
I know. I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm excited for you. It's been a long road.
Yeah.
See, now when I look at these pictures, I see other stuff I can do, but anyway.
Linda.
Okay. Yeah.
I have a question.
Okay.
So I'm really new at this. I'm within the first 6 weeks of trimming and stuff. And so with the frog and cleaning out the collateral groove, like that's starting to click with me. And I went to bring one of my horses up the other day, and we had like 3 or 4 straight days of rain, and her frogs were plump. And I was like, oh, I really don't feel comfortable doing anything with this right now. So what do you do with that? Because I've never had a farrier say, oh, we'll put your horse away, I can't trim them because their feet are all full of water. Like, how do you know how much of the frog to take back, especially when they're soaking wet like that?
That's a good question.
I mean, they were really plump, like, because I've been trying to bring all my horses up like every 2 weeks and just pick a little at a time off and look and observe. And I was like, whoa, this was not like this last week when I brought her up and looked at this, because the frog was like, it looked like a hot dog that had been in the microwave.
Yeah. Well, see, and what's great about that though is then when you start trimming and those frogs do that, they start pushing on that inner foot and pushing it back into place.
Oh, okay.
See, so that's a good thing. I always call wet weather corrective trimming weather.
Okay.
Because then the frogs, now another thing too is we suggest that you get this stuff to treat the frogs with. It's D.F. Crosley's Tea Tree Recovery Spray.
Okay.
And so keeping your frogs trimmed up, learning how to trim them, learning how to thin them down, when you they will change color. A lot of times they get way, way, way wider and softer, way softer, because I showed you this picture here, just a minute here. Okay, see this frog corium?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, when you get close to that, you can press on it and it's very flexible.
Okay.
More so than just a wet, firm frog.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, so here's your collateral groove and here's your frog. You see the frog corium isn't that big in there. So, just, I don't know quite how to tell you. It's something you're going to kind of have to learn.
Right.
But you can peel a potato,
Okay.
or an apple or a grape.
Right.
Okay. Then you'll get her figured out.
Okay.
But I definitely believe in serious frog trimming.
Okay.
See,
right.
And we're finding the more you trim them, the better you trim them, the better they get.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Let's see here. Okay, so we're going to keep kind of looking at this here. Now look how thick his walls are. They weren't always that thick. And in the quarters too. They're always saying, oh, these thoroughbreds have bad feet. Hey, how you doing? Let's see. Okay. So now see, when I do a bevel, I've done the bevel from the bottom back to the white line. That's what it looks like before I finish it off. You see, because I have pretty much all the way down good wall supporting the sole. See, and I'm almost in alignment there, perfect alignment. But these heels still need to come back about to there. And I've got about a little over 3 1/4 from here to here. So I know I have a good LG, 1/2 inch or more of sole in the toe. His inner foot probably ends right about there.
Hey, Miss Linda.
Yeah.
So that to me looks like you have a little flare going on there, but.
Yeah. Well,
okay.
What it is that's the heel that was trimmed out the most and pushed forward, and it pushed the wall out. And so he had a very asymmetrical foot over here.
Okay.
See, well, look here. See how he's whiter on that side?
So, yep, that's the outside. Exactly. Yeah.
But it's come in a lot. It used to be this bar. See, when you trim this heel out and there's no strength in it, then it pushes forward and it pushes the wall out, and then it pushes the bar over, and so the bar is laid over, and so there was no sole here. It was just hollowed out, and then so slowly I've been working at bringing the whole thing back and trying to get it over.
Very nice. Wish I had a foot like that. And I love that coronary band.
Oh man, the coronary band and the bulb.
I want to take a picture of that.
Okay.
Can you go back to that? That straight coronary band from the lateral view? Yeah.
That one? Yeah. Look at that.
Is that nice or what?
Yeah, and look back here. See, there's no bulb skin, big fat bulb sticking out the back of the foot.
No muffin top.
Yeah. His foot is finally really encased in that capsule.
Thank you. Very pretty. Thank you.
Thank you, dear. So, yeah, I mean, this looks totally different than the way it used to look. It's like, oh, so that's what it's supposed to look like. Okay. Or getting there anyway. Okay, so see how nice and clean the sole is? Not a bunch of junk under there and, clogging it up and stuff. And what's interesting is how these little pieces of the wall are sticking up there, the horn tubules. That's kind of funny. Okay, but you saw, okay, let's look at this again. There's the thickness of the wall. Okay. Okay, and you see how much I beveled off. He's still got wall next to the sole supporting the sole. See that? But the harder outer horn tubules, I have beveled off. And I've beveled the toe clear back to the white line. So there's no leverage on the toe, but yet you see, there ain't no big Mustang roll there, is there? See, because I don't believe in over beveling these, because it takes away the support of the wall from the sole. Because that's the whole point of that wall, is to support and retain that sole underneath the foot and act as in a supporting role.
And by the time you come back to trim in 6 weeks, he's grown all that wall thickness back again, and it's time to bevel again.
Yeah, well, okay, so that's all. That's the as thick as I do a bevel. See.
I think I just beveled mine too much.
Well, see,
What you said.
Yeah, you
I
want
went far the wall.
Yeah,
wall.
you want as much support and strength of the wall for the sole as you can.
Oh, the other thing I noticed about your foot on the sole view was that it's not yellow.
Yeah, no, it used to be.
Most of them are, yeah.
Yeah, it used to be, but now the sole is totally healed. It's pretty much under the foot where it belongs. It's being retained correctly by the walls. The sole tubules are growing at the right angle. They're not being pulled into a different position by distorted horn tubules grown forward, and things like that. And that's the other foot. I didn't define it quite as much because I was in a hurry. So I just wanted to trim it. But now this foot, now the other foot I took and I scribed. This one I just rasped flat, but you see the sole ridge? See it?
Yeah.
So you can rasp the wall down, and when you first hit that sole ridge, it might just be this wide right here. As you keep rasping the wall down, the sole ridge will get thicker. See? If the wall was just concave, it wouldn't do that, but that's that convex ridge of Sol right there.
So you would say that foot has a good depth of sole.
What's that?
So you would say that foot has a pretty
yeah.
good amount of sole in it.
Yeah, it does. It has a good amount of sole, because look at the heel buttresses. See? See that? And that is actually the shape of the sole, okay? But there is a convex ridge here. But it can look concave, but there is a convex ridge here. Hey, 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 hey. Got people saying stuff back there they shouldn't be saying. Okay. Okay.
I like the way you cleaned that foot up.
Oh, thank you.
One more question.
Yeah.
Are you still an inch and a half from your apex to your outer wall?
Yeah, to the white line. Yeah, exactly an inch and a half from the true apex to the white line.
Okay.
And then that's what that foot looks like. See, I'm doing good at getting matched feet, really. You know, with the hairline. See, every heel you have will be different. You have to deal with them independently, and you know where you're taking them. And just like the one heel on my one foot, I got that asymmetrical side that's wider. That was actually on both front feet on the lateral sides.
He really had his heels trimmed out, didn't he?
Yeah, from me. He sure did. You know, I could show you some pictures that are pretty drastic.
And this is 4 years, right? You've been remodeling them. Oh, look at him.
There he is. He's like, "Are you done yet?" See, nice big feet.
Nice big horse.
He is. Well, he's about, I don't know how big he is actually, but he's a good size. Oh man, and he's mostly thoroughbred. He's a registered quarter horse, but he's practically all thoroughbred too. Running quarter horse. There you go. You know. And his feet are straight. See, when I was trimming the heels out, he went pigeon-toed. Okay, now we're going to look at this horse that I trimmed this weekend. I was there 4 years ago to try and help her with this mare and another mare, and their feet were so bad. And I didn't know as much then as I know now, but I think even at that time I was, I had found out about the heels when I went down there before, I think. So anyway, this mare has been at times really severely foundered where she can walk at all. But I was really so happy when she took her out of the corral and she walked right over, and she is walking great, even though she has huge laminar wedges in both toes. But this is because what Susanna has done, and Susanna has a trimmer that comes, but she marks the heel before the trimmer comes, and she wouldn't let her trim the heels below that. And so the back of this horse's foot had developed really well. And so even though you can see she's got this big long toe and everything like that, and you can tell if you know anything about laminitis and rotation and laminar wedges that at some point this foot is rotated and stuff, she was totally sound. Well, not totally, but she walked just great. I was so happy to see that. I was like, oh my goodness, thank goodness, because Susanna had sent me pictures wanting me to help her. And I was just like, man, I'll just come down and see you. So I went down there. I got lost. I couldn't find my way there the second time. I don't know. Anyway, I wound up spending the night with her. We worked half a day on the mare the night before, and then the whole day the next day, doing these trims and cleaning up these feet. See, that's all. See that's a sign of a sinker and rotation. Very high laminar wedge in the foot. But look at the back of the foot. Back of the foot is looking well. She's got a good frog. She's been doing what we do, cleaning the frog out of the collateral grooves, which has really been helping. And this is why this mare was to be able to be as comfortable as she had. Another thing she had done is she had really put the mare on a diet, and was keeping her off the really sweet grasses, which was good. That's her, Monet. Such a sweet mare. So see, she's got really, really doing good the back of that foot. Good frog. But look, a lot of separation, a big laminar wedge, very long toes. Okay, so here was the first trim I did on it that first day. And what we did here too, we went ahead and put a groove right here just to try and see if this will grow down a little bit more. And not quite follow that there, but not really looking to totally grow out the laminar wedge, because what we found was in trying to do that and over forcing the issue, the laminar wedge does not grow out. The wall grows straight down. It pushes the laminar wedge back, which pushes the toe of the foot back like that, which pushes the pastern forward, and then the horse wants to knuckle over because he can't stand up straight. So that was kind of the first day.
Did you do anything with the heels?
I took them down a little. See if there's a picture here. Okay, there I took off, beveled a little more. Okay, here I did trim the bars a little better in the shape of, can you see the curves? How bad they curve?
Yeah.
Okay, that really shows you that that foot is still compressed in there and bent. Really trimmed the frog out here so we could see the bars. Now, if I wouldn't have done that, I think I did this the next day. The first day I just kind of trimmed up the frog. The second day I really trimmed that frog up and got so I could see inside that collateral groove. And that's when you really see what's really going on with bars. Bars can grow and do really weird things, and you don't even know it's happening because you're just cutting them straight like they're normal the whole time, but the whole time they're bent like that. See?
Can you flick back to the pre-trim of the frog?
Ah, like that.
Oh, okay, yeah, I see where you, okay. So you took quite a bit off, okay.
Yeah, and then the next day I took even more.
So how much heel did you leave her with?
2 inches, 1 3/4 to 2 inches.
Oh, because on the pictures it looks like she's got like a lot of heel there.
Yeah, well, when we do leave a lot of heel for horses that have laminitis. More than usual.
Really? Because
Yeah.
years ago I was taught the opposite, that if you leave the heels too high, it forces the toe into a dish.
Well, kind of found out that that doesn't really happen. That
Okay.
what happens is when you trim the heels out, well, I don't want to go into all that right now, but I just know that a bunch of us are finding the more heel you leave, the better off you are,
Okay.
you know, and quit chasing the toe. So that's what we started doing, you know, leaving way more heel and quit chasing that toe. Let it be a laminar wedge if it wants to be, because if you raise up the back of the foot right, okay, and get the palmar angle right, and you're starting to get that capsule realigned a little bit, then eventually you'll be able to trim that toe more, but you're getting the back of that foot stable. If you can get the back of the foot stable and unbound, then the rest of the foot seems to do a lot better.
Okay.
So, okay, so there's the other foot. Everything is blurry. See how deep those collateral grooves are? So let's say you want to measure, I wish I had her x-rays. Let's say you measured that collateral groove. It's going to show you that you have really thick sole, but what good is that going to do? When you have a coffin bone that's partially wore out, and you have, you know, I mean, you may have some sort of form of sole back in here, but your foot still isn't correct. See, I'm just showing there how the bar growth ring or line is curved, and it should not be that way. So that means it would be like this. The foot is like that, and that's not the way the foot is shaped.
So are those curved bar growth rings what they call impacted bars?
Well, they think they're impacted, but see, you know, our interpretation of things depends on what we know, right? And so what people have not realized is that they were trimming, because see, I used to think that too. In fact, I have a foot that was so foundered that I got off this one mare, and I could show you the hoof capsule, and it looked like the bars were growing straight up into the back of her foot, underneath her foot right here. But what's really happening is that as you are trimming over trimming the capsule and the heels, the capsule is getting smaller. At the same time it's getting smaller, since it's connected to the back of the foot from which it grows, it is pulling that foot down and under and bending the back of that foot under. This distorts the bar corium into a curve, so that the bar that grows from it is curved And so you know, the interpretation would be, wow, those bars must be impacted. But in truth, what is happening is the foot is bent, the bar's corium is curved, and so it's growing a curved bar that curves up into the foot.
That makes so much sense.
So that's what's happening here. So as we restore the heels, and you gotta really trim this frog out so it'll release the foot, the bulbs back here. Then as that uncovers that bar corium, those bars are going to grow straighter. But I got this, while I was there, I was just thinking of this stuff. Like I was looking at this that day and I was going, so I drew on them, you know, because the tendency is to trim the bar this way so that you're trimming it straight right here, right?
Yeah.
But the problem with that is then that piece of bar that fills that in, that's going to hold that bar just right there in that form structurally. So that's when I came back in here and I tried to trim it and follow this curve. You know, maybe there's a better way to do it too that would release this more, because can you see how if the bar corium is bent and then it grows this big chunk of bar like that, how that would just hold that foot right there so that it couldn't expand, you know?
Is that what would cause what I call a bar fracture? Like you'll see some horses that have like a crack in their bar.
You know,
is that
I don't know. Crack where? Like right up here?
Like right straight across the bar. Like you'll see a crack and it'll be filled with dirt all the time, and I just can't seem to get it out, rid of it. And I'm wondering if that's caused by a hoof capsule being contracted.
Probably.
Compressed.
Where is the crack at? Like, is it right here at the end, or is
no,
it
it's like in the middle of the bar.
in the middle?
I've noticed horses, sorry, that my bars break and remold themselves all the time, because I take pictures of my horse's feet like every single day, watching the growth. And I've watched the bars break themselves, and it's because the hoof is moving and they're not real bars. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so, you know, it's like, wow, I can't believe this, because I used to panic if I saw a broke bar. But just as that foot, because it's just that barrier that's holding in the sole. So as you get more sole and it moves around, it just breaks the bar and then regrows it right there and to make room.
Yeah, I mean
on the false bars, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean I've been thinking about these for a long time. What can we do? You know, but I just think it's a little bit of everything. You know, the frog has to release, and you know, push stuff up, and then stuff grows from a different spot, and then you trim it, and then everything just moves a little bit here and there and yon, you know. You know, and maybe one of these days we'll understand something maybe we're not doing quite right that's holding the foot where it is, that we could do things quicker, you know. I don't know. I know this frog thing is a big thing though, because see, I didn't always do that. Okay, so now I'm doing that other foot, and I decided to really trim this frog out of these collateral grooves and get right down to the bottom, you know. Now you can really see how long the heels really are, but that's not the real heel, see? Which right this minute, I don't want to go into the mechanics of that, of why you would still want a longer heel here to keep that horse's foot upright. But anyway, I just want to look at the bars here for a minute. See now, say you come in here and you trim a bar like that. You know, you would think that'd be okay, right? Okay, but look at here. Here's where the bar wall really is, where I've marked the bar growth ring. Okay, which it's not supposed to be a ring on the bar. It's a ring on the hoof capsule. It goes around like that. But on the bar, it's supposed to be a straight line. It's not supposed to, the growth ring is not, you know, supposed to be like that. It's supposed to, this is supposed to be straight. Okay, but you're trimming it like it is straight. So then look at this chunk of bar that fills in there. Do you see how this is going to hold this bar just like that? Is anybody understanding what I'm saying here?
Yeah, I see. I absolutely understand it, but I've noticed that with my horses, if I get too aggressive with their bars, they really object.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, see, in this case, I don't think it, see, this horse would still have a ton of bar right here, you know, but what I do come is, I'll just take that out. You'll see. Eh.
But
See,
from here, it looks like your bars are really long, like
they
almost to the
yeah,
apex. But then when you went to the soul view, it looks like, no, they're not.
yeah.
Okay.
See, she's still got a lot of bar there, but I'm just following the shape of the bar instead of letting that piece of growth be in there. It'd be like this. Let me explain kind of what I mean. Just a minute. Let me. Okay. Okay. Let's say here's some land. Here's some land, and then you have a ditch. Okay, like that. And you've got grass that grows like so. And so you're mowing here and you're keeping the grass like that. Well, let's say you don't mow here and you allow the grass to get up here. Now, it may look all the same, but you're walking along. What's going to happen here when you step here? You're going to fall in a ditch, right? Okay, well, that's all I mean is that the bar is supposed to grow like this. The growth ring should be straight, like that. Because the corium, this is what it grows from, right here. The corium will put these rings in it, or these lines, as it grows. But it's supposed to be straight, like this. See? But you see where it's at, and so then the frog fills up this area here. And you can't see it. So you're always going to be cutting it straight, when in reality, in this case, it's bent like this. So you need to just be following that line. You see how I followed the line? I just followed the line. That's all I did. I just followed the line. That's the only thing different I did, instead of letting it grow up and having this big chunk here that was going to keep that bar bent forever. So,
Okay, so
oh, go ahead.
oh, I just had a question. I thought you were done.
Oh, I'm done pretty much.
Okay, so how is this affecting the internal foot, the internal foot when you bring those bars down?
It's
Like
just,
I'm turning the picture upside down, looking at it, and you know, you've got rotation, right?
mm-hmm.
So is that allowing the back of the foot to come down?
Well, what it's doing, it's just gonna allow the capsule to grow bigger. See,
Okay.
it's gonna, see, these bars hold these heels right where they're at, and the heels are not in the correct spot yet. They still have to come back some more. See, this central sulcus is not right, and the frog stay is not right.
Yeah.
All this has to come back this way. Okay, this whole frog has to release. Everything has to come back and come unbent. Okay, and it's being held there by the heels. That's, see, those heels are holding that foot under.
So you wouldn't bring the heels down any at all?
Oh yeah, I did. This is just
Okay.
preliminary, but I don't
Oh.
want to bring them down too much because then the foot will rotate again. See,
Okay.
that's the thing that happens when you overlower the heels. It sets the hoof capsule. See, the hoof capsule needs to be in a weight-bearing equilibrium with the inner foot and the way the horse stands. And so when you overlower the heels, it creates a situation mechanically where the hoof capsule is being pulled forward and off the foot, and the foot is pushing down and backwards. That's the weight mechanics that go on then in that foot. So you have to keep the heels higher so that that weight-bearing equilibrium is more maintained between that capsule and that horse, because the foot is attached to a horse. Your foot is your foot no matter what kind of shoe you put on it, right? Your foot wants to stand a certain way. And so that hoof capsule, if that hoof capsule isn't exactly right on that foot, then it creates a situation where they are pulling against one another. And so what I've found is keep those heels long, keep that foot up, and that horse can stand up even if the rest of the foot isn't correct. And it helps with the weight-bearing equilibrium between the capsule and the foot of the horse itself. Let's see.
Okay.
Yeah, I know it's hard to understand. You know, I'm looking for other ways to demonstrate what I mean and why this has to be, why it has to be the opposite of what you would think. See, there's a bunch of other explanation that goes into that. You know, I will tell you this, since I've been doing that, my pony's feet got better and better and better. Since she did it to this horse can now walk and couldn't before. I mean, it came to a place where they're going to have to put this horse down. See? And so she's got a real strong, the back of her foot is real strong, but it is not where it's supposed to be. But if you were to lower these heels, probably that'd be the last thing for this horse ever. You know,
Are you going to talk about laminar wedge too? Like, do you have pictures of that? It's been a while since I've had that issue.
Yeah, but it's already 9 o'clock, so probably not tonight. Okay, so I took these heels down to right here, just so you know.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
Okay. See? Took them down to right there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
That makes more sense to me now.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, you know, I wasn't done with the trim. So.
But your information on the growth rings in the bars is like a big light bulb moment for me. I think that I need to pay more attention to on this perch run.
Yeah, and me too, you know. Okay, so this footed abscess is a back foot. But see, I mean, this horse is doing good as far as the buildup of the back of the foot. That's what was helping this horse.
This horse foundered in all 4 feet then, huh?
Uh-huh.
Wow, poor thing. He must have been in a lot of pain.
Yeah. Well, now she's not. I mean, she's doing good. She had good soul. I was able to take some of that down because she had a lot of soul. And so she's standing good. See there? And she was walking good. And then, so that's kind of what we ended on there. It's a 3-hour drive from here. Anyway, now we're back to my horse.
But she was glad to see you.
Yeah, she's a great gal too. We had a good time together, and she gave me some nippers. She gave me the nippers from heaven. I would say hell, but I mean they are just like, you would not believe these nippers. Oh my gosh, I don't even know how to explain them, but they're like they would cut into iron like butter. They're like these strange mechanical nippers that she inherited from some gal that she knew that had cancer and died, and the gal said she wanted Susanna to have these nippers, and they're huge, but they cut like butter. They're amazing. I'll have to put a picture of them up here.
Well, that's awesome. That was looking pretty good.
Yeah, I thought that was looking pretty good. But see, the proof is in the pudding, right? So I told her, oops, wait a minute. No. I told her, I called her yesterday to see how the horse was doing, and she was doing fine. But I also told her to leave her in the corral and not move her around, to let her feet. You don't want to do these trims on these horses and think everything's going to be hunky-dory. You want their feet to reestablish themselves, so you don't go exercising them and stuff. You
That
understand?
horse has no frog stay in its back feet, does it?
No, it doesn't. Doesn't
That's-
have frog stay in the front ones. Well, the frog stay is there, but it's still pulled under the foot. It's not back up where it's supposed to be.
And the back ones look worse though.
Yeah, but they're still doing pretty good. See
I mean,
that? I mean that all this frog still needs to come back and up, but still very strong in the back of the foot. Even
good.
aren't quite
Yeah.
right. And look here. Here's something you want to look at too. The cartilage looks pretty good. See,
Yeah.
not real bent under. So let's see here. Let me go back. Okay. Anyway, there's a back foot. So I thought that looked pretty good, but I just know, I painted it. I said, okay, this is what you're supposed to grow off. So I sprayed it with spray paint.
Oh, that's funny. That's a good idea, though.
That's the other foot. There's so much you can do, and you don't always know if what you're doing is just right, and so you just hope that what you did is going to be beneficial. You hope the horse isn't going to be like dead lame the next day. You know what I mean? So I called her the next day, and she was doing good, but she had also taken her out of the pen and walked her down to the mailbox. And I said, you don't really want to do that. This kind of a horse, there's a delicate balance there, see? And the horse is doing good. So we just did a major trim. You should let that horse just sit in its corral for a week. Do you understand why I would say that?
Oh, I
Anybody there?
do. I
Okay.
do.
Okay.
Yes.
When you trim, this horse has been compromised in a big way, by the laminar wedges, by being foundered before, things like that. We just did a major trim on all 4 feet, so things are going to move. All right. So you want that horse to stay in a corral for a week and not move around a lot. Okay. So that the foot can reestablish itself wherever it has to be, So anyway, I did call her, and she said that the horse was doing real good. So I'm going to call her again tomorrow, because I want to know what happened when we did this trim. I did what I thought was right. Okay. But you just don't know. You know, you just don't know sometimes how they're going to react. You know, I don't really like to work on these horses. You know, I don't want to be responsible. You understand that? But she was needing help, and I felt that if the horse kept going the way it was, that those toes were going to get a little too long, and then you're going to have another situation, you know? So anyway, all right. So, okay, so we're going to look, whose horse are we going to look at? I talked to earlier. Hello? Anybody there?
Yes, I'm here. I walked away.
Oh, okay.
I was feeding the cat and the dog, and I was like, wait, that's me. That's me.
Okay.
I'm still
Wait,
here.
stop. Oh, hey, I can relate. Let's see. I'm in the dark here. Just a minute here. Okay. Okay. Hold on here. All right. Was that UK?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I don't want to be stupid. But anyway. Okay. So, Kay, we're going to look at your horse's feet.
Okay.
And just tell me where to go because I can't remember. Do I go to the forum?
I posted pictures in both places, the same pictures.
Okay.
But I don't know that I maybe put let me see. I don't know if I put the markup pictures. I think I did the initial wash her feet and put her pictures up on the forum. But in the...
Let's see. Oh, look at the forum. Well, where do you want me to go? Do you want me to go Facebook page or?
Let me see if I can. Let me see, because I think you actually. Here, do you want me to tag you?
Okay. Let's see.
So this is where I did my first markup on her. I just tagged you in it, and then I'll find the one where I did the picture.
Okay. Well, it hasn't notified me yet. Wouldn't it notify me?
Yeah, I would think. Hold on.
Oh, wait, I think it did. There it goes.
I tagged you in the link to the forum pictures, and then I tagged you in the post where I did my first attempt at marking up.
Okay, is that this post here?
Hold on, let me go back to the, yes.
Okay.
And I made mistakes.
You did fine.
I had the laptop out on the side of the trailer, and I'm trying to watch the video and do the things. And
Yeah, I know. You did great. Okay, let's see. See, this is the right front. By the time you got to the left front, you were cooking. That looks good. You did good. Now, when you looked at these feet, what did you see here?
I noticed out of all my horses, she toes out really bad on all 4 feet. Like she walks with her toes almost east and west.
Mm-hmm.
And then I noticed that I wasn't sure, like my other 2 horses, I could visualize the straight line coming down from the leg, down the hoof, dividing the hoof in half, but I couldn't see that with her. I just was like, I don't know what to, I drew the line in the middle from the bottom of the foot from when I did the mapping underneath, but
okay,
it looks crazy to me.
Okay, you did a good job. You did a good job because what this is showing us something, you know. First of all, always look at the hairline, what's going on. Because see the way this is shoved up here?
Yep.
And then you got that. You see the growth rings. Do you know what the growth rings are supposed to look like?
They're not supposed to have waves in them.
Right. You know, so that's telling us that this part of her foot is often left long
Okay.
And so it's jammed up like that as far as it can go and into the coronary band, raising the coronary band. And then it couldn't go any further that way, started to flare out.
Okay.
See, the
I see
growth
that.
takes the path of least resistance. For some reason, this inside, now you had somebody else trimming your horses before?
Yeah, I've always had a farrier.
Okay.
And she's been barefoot. I've owned her for a little over 2 years now, and I got her from the thoroughbred adoption place barefoot. And I've always had her barefoot. So she's always barefoot.
Okay. Well, what all I'm saying is that mechanics wise and stuff like that, this is why we want to read these horn tubules, because see, I would come in there and I would relieve that wall. So all that would start dropping down, and eventually, well, you look at this side, how different it is.
Mm-hmm.
And it's still not quite right, but it's not as jammed as that side. See?
Okay. Yes,
See,
I
look
see
at
that.
the difference of the shape. This shape here, you can see the ring go, and then the foot is shaped like that, you know. And you see it, it's just a little, it's less over here, but it's still kind of there. And so, just a minute here. Let me get something to draw with.
I think I had taken those pictures. I had relieved my farrier of his duties, and I think she was going into the 5th week of what would be her 6-week cycle. So,
okay. See, it would be more like,
yeah,
like this,
mm-hmm.
you know,
Mm-hmm.
and the hairline be more like that. Well, that is not good at all. I didn't draw a very good picture.
That's okay. I see it though.
Okay. So that's why we do this, and so that we can read this. And so we're basing it on the inner foot. Now the inner foot would go like this, the coronary band. See there?
Mm-hmm.
So this hairline would actually go like this. See, kind of like that.
Yep.
And so then the just a minute here. Oh, let's just use black. Oops, that one's supposed to be so narrow. See how you would see the hoof capsule if it was shaped to the inner foot,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and then this would be kind of like that.
Okay.
Growth ring.
Yeah.
Kind of like so.
Yeah.
Like so. That's why we do that. So then, and see, so that tells you that you're trimming high here.
Okay.
See, because the hoof wall is dovetailed to the sole.
Mm-hmm.
And so just like it grows down and out past the sole, it can be jammed up as well. Because the coronary band, this coronary band can move up to a 1/2 inch up and down.
Yeah.
See?
Hey, Miss Linda?
Yeah?
So when Miss Kay trims her horse here, and she's going to, I assume, take down the sole and also put a bevel on this foot. Now, could you mark on that foot? I mean, should she start that trimming work right where that starts to rise up and then end it where it comes down? Do you know
Yeah,
what
I
I
would
mean?
just do just relieve the over to the white line. I would relieve it over to the white line right there. It still won't be a deep bevel. I mean, see, but it'll just be a little bit more than what's there, so that this can, you know, come down.
Yeah. So you don't have to take the sole away
You know,
down there.
No,
Okay, just
no, not at
okay.
all.
Right.
You know, in some cases, someone might, but this horse doesn't have much heel. Let's see, let's look at, we got to look at the rest of the deal here. Oh, where am I at?
Yeah.
Haha. Yeah. You see how spread your bulbs are here?
Yes.
That is a sign of trimmed out heels, because as the heels are trimmed out and your false heel forms and they move forward, they're following the shape of the wall here. Unless, of course, the heels are contracted, you know, and then the bulbs will squeeze together. But in your case, they've spread out. See, because frog corium doesn't go over like that. Okay, frog corium comes straight back like this.
Okay.
Okay, so this is distorted frog corium that's making your frog wider and spread out the back of the heels. And so as the heels were trimmed out and moved forward, they also got wider and pulled the back of the foot wide.
Okay.
Like that. And so as you start to define some of this and grow some heel, you don't want to grow so much that because you know you're not going to have any wall to support, or you're not going to have any sole to support your walls yet, you know. But what you're doing is you're allowing the foot to gain weight from here to here to gain a little height, so that the growth is pushed up into the capsule.
Okay.
See, you'll think your heels aren't growing, but they're growing, but it's being pushed up into the capsule. And as you bring these bars over more right here, like clean this up in here and bring it over more, then it's going to start adding hoof wall into your capsule. Here, I'll show you a picture of my horse's foot. That's why his feet walls and everything's so weak and shelly, because he has no real heel buttress, and so everything's out of alignment. If they don't have that frame in the heels, like what I showed earlier, they are not going to have good sole.
Okay.
Just a minute here. Well, let's see here. Where am I at? Okay. Forgot what I was looking for. What was I looking at? What was I looking for?
The bar, you were talking about the bars and the heels spreading out.
Okay.
And the heels
There.
getting too thin.
Okay. Now this is in November, this foot here. But okay, you see how my foot, look how it's spread right here. See it? Just like yours is. It had that little foot. Now look at the difference here in the frog over here, and in the shape of the foot as well. See there? Okay, so that's when the heels were trimmed out of my horse. See there?
Oh.
This is now, I guess, well, or no, yeah, this is now actually. That was, maybe it's the same. I don't know. Maybe that was recent. Maybe that was the other day. Anyway, but this is what it used to be like. See the difference? You know, see how he's walking on his bulbs here?
Yes.
You know, and see how the heels are clear up here? Any hoof wall is clear up over here to the side.
Okay.
See, now they've come back and supporting the whole back of his foot. But look how it pulled the frog and the back of the foot is so different right in here. See? And so that's what you got going on there. So see, there's hope. There's hope for them thoroughbreds. Let's see what else we got here. There we go. Yeah, see how it strips the frog out of the foot? There, see how rounded
Yes.
that is, and the
Yes.
difference. This was, anyway, this is what I'm showing how the horn tubules need to come back into alignment on that foot. But anyway, look at that one. See, and this was, this is clear back in 2015 yet. So just different forms the feet take on when they don't have a heel buttress, because they're just all over the place, you know,
Okay.
because it's that big chunk of heel buttress back here that stabilizes those feet, stabilizes the capsule. Anyway, yeah, 2013. And this was 2019. You see how the frog stay was changing,
Mm-hmm.
and the bulbs and the sole. Look at the difference in the sole even. So not done yet, but this, what I got here, wow.
Gosh,
I mean,
it looks so foreign to my eye, because
yeah,
when you look at a hoof like the one on the left, I would think that's what I see all the time, and that's normal to me in my eye. And then I see what you're saying about the hoof on the right, and it looks so foreign.
yeah, it does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
You know, but I'll tell you something. Once this frog stay grows on, and once I allow the frog corium to attach to the heels, it's going to look like these feet, that it's going to look very similar to the foot that they've been showing us as a model, but actually has the heels trimmed out.
Right.
Yeah, blows me away. I don't remember. Oh, anyway, just more.
And Linda, I have a question. How do you know it's time to let the frog attach to the heels?
Well, when you know, when your foot is totally unbound.
Okay.
Yeah. See, now look here at him. See how this curves?
Yes.
Okay, it shouldn't curve at all. It
No,
should go
it should be straight across.
right.
Okay.
See, all this here gets pulled way down and under the foot.
Okay.
See, look here, it was hard to tell that here.
Yeah.
See, but it was happening even more. And look at how narrow it was actually between the bulbs. And look how now it's gotten wider. The frog has gotten wider and bigger.
And now
See?
the frog stay will come up in there, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, between the bulbs. See, if we were to look at a picture of some bulbs, just a minute here. Oh, let's see. Oh, that ain't it. Okay. Now, her bulbs are squeezed together here because the hoof capsule's off and the frog stays out of the foot. And then, two, her heels were still a little contracted and the frog stay should have been wider. But what we want to look at is some bulbs here. See, that area there is supposed to be full of frog stay and spread further apart than what you're seeing here. It's the frog stay that keeps those bulbs spread apart and keeps
Okay.
your heels from contracting.
Okay. So
now I didn't know it at the time, but her heels were still pulled under like that. The back, I'm talking about the internal part of the foot was still pulled down and under the foot. So her capsule wasn't as big as it should have been. And her frog stay wasn't as big and as wide as it should have been. But didn't know that till I started looking at some of these other, well, you see what's going on with Valor. You know, I thought that one, where is it here? Well, now I don't know where it went. Oh, okay. I thought that was a good frog stay. See?
Yeah.
I thought, yeah, I'm getting a frog stay. Well, then weird things started happening. I kind of started freaking out when I was seeing stuff like that. Like, you know, oh no, he's getting thrush or something. No, what was happening was he's growing this big old fat frog stay in there that was spreading the bulbs clear apart. See?
Okay.
And then I got that sunny horse that's got a humongous frog stay from here to here. You know, what must that be like for that horse to land on?
And
You know,
also the coronet band in each picture here is getting thinner and thinner.
yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, see, we think that they're supposed to look like that, right?
Yeah.
But they're supposed to look like this. But the thing about it is, this can look similar to that when you allow this frog skin to attach to the heel.
Okay.
So you got to be able to tell the difference between what's periopal band skin and a bulb sticking out, and what is frog skin and periopal over here. See, it's totally different. Look at how thin the periopal is, because really it's only supposed to cover the width of the coronary band. But what happens is it winds up getting stretched to cover the bulb of the foot that's being exposed, because the hoof capsule is being trimmed out of it. Okay, see, that ain't right. If her foot would have been right, this would have been very narrow right to there. And then all this would have been frog, but it isn't. This is bulb skin covering the bulb. The bulb is not supposed to be out like that at all. Let's see, let me see. Yeah. It's okay. The bulb skin is only this wide. You see right there? That's all the wider it is right there. Okay. But look how, this is interesting looking at this, because see, the heels are trimmed out of this horse still. Now, originally this was attached to that. Okay. Now, because it's not attached anymore, the foot can sit kind of normal, you know, but when it was attached to the capsule, what was it doing? It was pulling all this down.
And contracting.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so, yeah, anyway, so that bulb skin, periopal skin, is only supposed to be about that wide. And then here's your frog corium right here. Okay, all this would have been your frog stand here, only would have been wider, you know, about out to here. The heels should have been out further, way out further, should have been higher and back further, attached to this part of the foot. But then the periopal bulb skin is just only about that wide, but then the frog would have been growing here, attaching to the heels. See, look at how much frog you're really supposed to have. See, they're covering that frog corium. And then let's look at this one. I want to look at this one frog. Just a minute here. Look at that frog stay. See how wide it is?
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, you know,
But
that really
can
gives
that-
that.
Yeah, can that frog stay be that wide even though the periopal band is that thick, I guess, or wide also?
But that's not periopal. This is all
Okay.
frog. The
Oh.
periopal band is only about this wide.
Okay.
Right here.
Okay,
This is all frog.
gotcha.
That is all frog. That's what I mean. See, it's hard to tell the
Yeah.
difference between what is periopal and what is frog. See how the back of this foot can so deceive you.
Yeah.
You know, see, this is frog that's all attached clear down to here.
If
All
we
this,
looked at, oh, sorry.
go ahead.
If we looked at this foot from the sole view, would we be able to get a better idea? I mean, you can't just look at it from one view to tell, right? Which is which is the best view? Now, that's the same foot?
That's the same foot.
All right, so now we have to say, where is the frog here?
It's right. Well,
Oh, there's your frog
see?
stay. I've never seen one from that direction.
I know. And look how full it is.
Okay.
See, I mean, he needs a trim. He's got a bunch of stuff going on there, but
And that frog is still wide too.
yeah. Yeah, but it's a different kind of wide. This is not, you know, a foot that's really distorted in the back, that's pulled out of shape. This is just a really good frog. You know, this horse just has a tremendous frog stay.
It looks like it's totally different tissue than the bulb, than the periopal bulb.
Yeah.
You can kind of tell it gets very black and dark, right? When it's all pulled down.
Yeah, and when it all dries out, it all looks the same. You know? But if you were to trim the heels out, then you could have no frog and just barely a thin covering of semi-frog on the frog corium itself, and you could have these bulbs sticking out. It could look very much the same. See, when that periopal, because as you trim the heels out and as the capsule size is reduced, well, that foot is the same size. Sometimes it'll bind up in there and get all smooshed into the capsule, and sometimes the bulbs keep tearing out the back, and then the periopal skin just keeps stretching to cover them.
Right.
In fact, there was a gal I got. I seen her post some pictures on another hoof group, and you could see where the heels were being trimmed out of her horse, and the bulb skin was not stretching and it was tearing. So the bulb was exposed, you know. Let's see, let's go back here. Okay, so you're supposed to have bulb skin over this, right? Okay, so when that bulb skin tears, if it won't stretch or multiply or whatever it does, expand, then it'll tear a hole, and then that skin is exposed. Well, in this case, you know, I've soaked this foot till there's no more blood in it at all. And you know how I was telling you, it's the same, it's just skin colored, right? But if you were to tear this off when the horse was alive, this would be bleeding profusely. Right up here, this is just shaved. That's the color of her skin. But this is where the periopal skin is attached, right here. And so if you were to tear that, then this would bleed. There you can really tell that there's something wrong with that capsule. I just, since I took this capsule off, you know, it contracted, you know what I mean? So I thought that was kind of interesting. But okay,
Yeah.
Here you see how the periopal skin is covering that bulb right there. See it? Okay, so if you were to tear that, that would bleed. But again, because I've soaked these feet, all the blood is out of it. So look at the color of it. Look at the color of the frog corium. It's the same color as the skin on the foot. See, I haven't skinned the hide off. I've just removed the hair. That's what the horse's skin looks like. See, and corium that grows all this is just a kind of skin. So you got this whole foot that's in there and it's covered with skin. You know, only that skin grows its own shoe. So we're just trying to understand this inner foot, what it needs, what grows from it, and how it is best arranged to support and fit it. And you're looking for weight-bearing equilibrium between the hoof capsule and the foot. But see, now this is the first time I've thought of this, how how this foot has you know, it's released from this capsule now. And so this just shows you how this would be attached down here and pulling the foot down, see? See, that would be really contracted heels. And of course, remember how we were talking about, I'll see if that capsule's here so you can see what the bar looks like. You wanted to know about bars, right? Okay, because I was not trimming according to the shape of the bar, because see, the foot is slightly bent under, so it's growing this bar that has these curved rings in it. There. Okay, so there's your 2-inch heel, and those heels aren't fully correct yet. They're still forward. Let's see, let's move that. Okay, so that is up here to the hairline, to the end of the heel on that foot anyway. Let's see, would have been about there. Would have made this go down a little bit more, so that would have been about 2 3/4 or 1 3/4 inch by the time it was in a correct spot. I was just trying to figure out. Okay, there, see that? That would have been pulled down under there. So you can see now, that's gotta hurt though. I mean, think about it. If your foot is bent and your bar is bent and it's bent up into the bottom of your foot, that can't feel that good, right? See how the bar is shaped? That's really not the way the foot is shaped. See, making the bar grow like that, that is not, yeah, that would put, and see, I've got some hoof capsules where the bars were so bent, it was like a jagged, sharp point going up into the bottom of the foot. So it's the hoof, you figure the foot is attached to this. This is pulling it down and under while the bar is being forced to grow up that way as like a wedge into the bottom of that foot. So yeah, I guess that would be an impacted bar in a way. Okay, see how that bar looks?
Mm.
That can't feel good, right? So that bar is not supposed to grow like that.
That's almost like an ingrown toenail.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. So that's why I say follow that bar like that. Maybe that'll help push some of that out and release the back of that heel so it'll pull back, and then this bar will grow straight like that instead of having this number. See?
I'm just wondering if that has any relation to horses that grow those big lumpy bars.
It could be. There you see. See how it's not supposed to do that. It's supposed to be smooth like that. If you look at the bottom of the foot, the foot doesn't go like that underneath there. So that means that would be pressing up into the bottom of that horse's foot the whole time. Okay, so that's only solid part of that foot. The rest of it, 2/3 of it, is soft cartilage. And man, I'm so sick because my coffin bone disappeared. I don't know what happened. I don't know if a dog got a hold of it or what. Anyway, so this is a central sulcus, but that's supposed to be full of a frog stay, and it's supposed to be about this wide. When you remove the hoof capsules, also the bulbs start to come together. See, at first I didn't know. I wondered why that was like that. It's because their bulbs are squeezed together. So the frog stays, you know, growing that funky like that. So yeah, frog stay, big fat frog stay. Just push them bulbs apart. Okay, see, there's your inner heel right there. So when you see bulbs on the ground like that, okay, you know that there ain't much soul in that heel, right? You see why I said you have to have a frame? Just a minute here. What color I got? Oh, black is all right. Okay, here's the heel. Okay, so you would have the back of the heel buttress, which starts right here. Actually, the buttress grows right here. Okay, you're going to have, this would be the piece of wall that was connected. You have to have at least that much, right? And then you'd have to have at least that much below it, right? So that you would have soul. Well, maybe not quite that much. Wait a minute. Okay, let's say from here down, and then you want at least that much more, because here's where you have soul, right in here. See there? On the bottom of your foot. Here, we'll draw a hoof capsule. So the heel would actually be about like so. See what I mean? Otherwise, your horse is walking like this. So when you look at horses and you see them walking on their bulbs with no frog stay in here, how can a frog corium grow any frog? See? Can't grow any frog. You would want that much frog. See what I mean? That would be frog right there. So soul and frog supporting that foot. See? Okay, let's see. Okay, so who was it that asked about the soul? Are they still here? Hello?
I don't remember who asked.
I hear the crickets. That's pretty funny. Okay, well anyway, let's see here. Let's stop that and let's get out of here. Let's see, let's go back over here. So you got your work cut out there, just restoring the back of this horse's foot. The more of the heel that gets restored, the stronger the walls will get.
Okay.
See, they look like this because there's no stability. Because that heel buttress in the back is a big, they're like two major pillars supporting the back of that foot, and they support the whole hoof wall so that it's stable. And so they'll start getting better and better. Got all your measurements. See, that's great that you're doing all that, you know? That's awesome. That's cute. Yeah, I love thoroughbred socks like that. You know what I mean? They have a sock and then a black foot.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. See his bulbs down on the ground there?
Yeah. Okay, so then what do I need to be doing then?
Okay, well, you need to trim off this skin here.
Okay.
Okay. To find out where is the bottom of your collateral groove exit there.
Okay.
Okay. You need to really trim up this frog. You need to trim this frog out of the collateral grooves and over so that you can really see what's going on with your bars. See the lines in your bars there?
Mm-hmm.
It's because, you know, the back of your foot is bent forward, so your bars are not growing correctly. Anyway, they should be much sturdier and bigger, and, you know, so you're going to want to start defining your bars more, a little over to, you know, about to there. See, if I was to map this foot, I'm just going to map it here. Definitely you don't need to take the toe back.
Okay.
Okay, but you do need to find the true apex of the frog in here, which would not be pointed. And you need to thin down the frog. You know, he may be depending on it, but you've got to thin down the frog to get the foot to expand and to get the heels to release and start growing in.
Okay.
So, you know, you're going to want to offer him some form of support or something.
Okay. She's okay. I mean, our arena is sand, and if I
Okay.
do take her out, I mean, she's fine in the pasture. We have clay, and she's been
Okay.
fine.
She'll
The
do
only
good
thing,
then.
yeah, she's if I ride her down our road, which is gravel, I'll put her boots on her. But I've never had her be, you know, like ouchy or anything.
Okay. So let me just take a picture here. And we're going to go paint. Okay. So let's see. Just gonna, okay. Okay, now the reason that we draw a line down the center is so that we can get our protractor centered so that we know that we're drawing fairly straight lines across like that. So I would say the true apex is probably more about here.
Okay.
Did you measure the toe from the apex to the white line?
I did, and I actually trimmed back her apex, and I thought I had uploaded pictures, but I couldn't
Oh,
find
you probably did, but I'm just using one that's not. Okay. So then from here to here, straight line, that's where the frog should end.
Okay. Wow.
You know,
okay.
But see, because your foot has been pried apart, it's also spread the frog corium.
Okay.
So the frog is growing like that over. See, this is more than just frog that's attached to a heel. This is frog that's filling up this collateral groove and being pushed over. And so as long as it's like that, the foot, it will hold the foot right where it's at.
Okay.
So we're going to take this and follow that down. See, it's even more so on that side. So you're going to want to clean all this out, clean this frog up good, create a central sulcus right here.
Okay.
Okay, clean that out real good. Clean all this skin off here. And then you're going to see the reality of what's going on with your bars there.
Okay.
See, that now I could move that over just a hair, but it should be about like that. See, so yeah, get all this skin cleaned up. Really clean that frog up to where you're down to totally fresh frog everywhere.
Okay.
Then, just a minute here. From the same area, we come over here about like so. See, and you're going to want to clean up. First of all, well, okay, wait. I'm getting ahead of myself here. That's because now that my heels are right, as when I map my bars with when I lay a protractor from there to there and mark it, I'm always right at exactly about 2 inches, which is I find is interesting. So anyway, then map your bars. Going to be a little wide for now. Okay, see how this bar has to come out like that. Okay. Just go ahead and bring that around like that and just take that out and clean that up.
Okay.
Right there. And you know, yeah, for right now, you're wanting to grow the heel find where the bottom of this is. You want at least about an inch here. Okay. Ideally, it would be 1 3/4 inches to 2 inches, but you also don't want the wall right here so high above the sole that it breaks off.
Okay.
Because see how there's no support
Mhm.
really for these walls in the sole yet. So just start there. Start creating some boundaries for these bars and start growing. Just a second. Let me get it red. Okay, from here over this piece of wall right here, you want weighted so
Okay.
that the growth will push up in, but you don't want it any longer past the sole than about 1/4 inch.
Okay.
And so you won't be trimming your heels down.
All right.
Yeah. Does that give you a good start there? Kind
Yes.
of some things to do.
It does. It does.
Okay. And pretty much that's it for right now.
Okay.
After your heels get in a little bit, yeah, you're gonna want to bevel this. Well, I wouldn't hurt it anyway, and you might have done it already. Just kind of bevel this wall over
Okay.
right in here. I would do that. Yeah, I would bevel this over so you haven't got these levers
Okay.
all sticking out here. Okay.
I'll work on it and I'll take some pictures.
Okay. All right. Well, well, I think that's about it.
Thank you.
Hey, you're welcome. Thanks for sharing. We're glad to have you with us.
Mhm.
I love thoroughbreds. Well, I love all horses, but except when I'm under them trimming their feet.
Right?
Then it's a love-hate relationship, you know.
It's not easy.
No,
Ooh,
it's not
it
at
is
all.
not. And I was actually watching one of your videos the other day when you were like, yeah, it's okay if you do one hoof today and you have to come back to do the other one because it's hard. And I was like, yes.
Oh yeah, yay.
Yeah. Okay, I'm not gonna damage
Yeah.
my life because I can't do all of them right now.
Yeah, no kidding, you know. And I look at it this way. I want to leave them three feet they can stand on.
Yeah.
There you go. You know. All righty. Well, that's it for me tonight. Thanks everybody for coming. And I'll get this recorded and posted and get it up on the YouTube channel and get you a link to it. Okay?
Okay, thank you, Linda.
Okay. Hey, everybody, have a great week. You're welcome.
Thank
Good
you.
night,
Thank you.
everybody.
Thank you.
Okay.
Bye,
Bye.
everybody. Have
Bye.
a great night.
How,
Great.
how are
Thanks,
you doing,
Linda.
Randolph? Are you still there?
Yes, yes. How are you?
I'm good. How are you? How are things going down there?
Fine, fine. I think I'm doing, the horses are doing good. That's the
Good.
most important thing.
Okay. Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Yes, they are walking all very good. And yeah, one time you get frustrated, but the other day you get again and you see improvements. So you get
Yeah.
strength again. And
Yeah.
it's a hard job.
Yes, it is, isn't it? And I know it can be frustrating. And you kind of got your defeats and victories. You feel
Yes,
defeated
yes.
one day, and then you have a victory the next. So it's not easy.
That's the way.
Yeah.
No, but I'm really happy with all improvements, and you will like to get faster, but it's impossible.
It is impossible because they have to grow it.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
and we don't always make the right decisions. It's hard this is hard. It's not easy. It's not easy making the right decisions, you know.
See, no, it's not that easy.
Nope.
When you look at the photos, you see I make this and that, but when you get to the truth,
Yep.
at the foot is another thing. Yeah.
Yeah. It
But
takes patience, and you just have to wait and wait and wait and hope you did the right thing.
no, but I always listen to you, and I get some new idea every time. really appreciate, and thanks for all.
Well, you're sure welcome. I'm glad you're doing okay. I wanted to make sure that you were okay and see how you were.
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
Thank
Well,
you.
you have a great week, dear.
Same to you.
Okay, bye.
Bye, bye. Thanks.
You bet.